a watch cam.
It's a watch cam.
Toop is one of those Canadian
Oh,
hats
shoot.
with a knob at the end.
Is there-
We need HDMI. Look on my computer. Into the last HDMI on here. That camera's not on.
The screen was on.
I don't have any video. I'll do this. Yeah. Try unplugging the cord and plugging it back in.
Is it? Yes?
No. Video out on that camera might not work. There's audio coming from it, but no video.
Really?
Yeah. Well, you guys aren't going on.
Well, you could flip.
We can do that later for
I'm so disappointed. I can't believe it.
I know.
I don't know if I'll be able to sleep tonight.
Me neither. I'm worried about that UND game.
Darcy, can you see if you can find me a longer HDMI cable?
How about this one?
We were going.
Nope, that's mini HDMI.
Good evening, football fans, and welcome to Sports Stadium as we get ready as the International Falls Broncos take on the Two Harbors Agates. Tim Ringhofer joined by George Frake as we bring you this game on KCC TV, Channel 7 on Midco, and also online at kcc-tv.org. If you don't got some friends and they don't want to be at the game tonight, call them up, let them know where you can watch this game. George, this is going to be a dandy.
This is going to be the game that we've been waiting for since last year. Both teams 3-2. Both teams have capability of playing very good football. Both teams have very good defenses.
We talked about earlier this week, we talked about which Two Harbors team are we going to see? Are we going to see the team that beat ESCO 38-34 a couple weeks ago? Or are we going to see the team that lost to GNK last week 30-7?
Well, that's right. They have just had a little bit of mixed blessings this year, as it were. But, you know, I watched the Greenway game, and they were not out of that game entirely, you know. I mean, Greenway just kind of took it to them at the end, but they played real well the first half. In fact, you watch from the running, they took the lead over in the first quarter, and then after that, Greenway just kind of took it over, and you know, Bob Schwartz stuck it to him.
Some people might be saying the same thing about the Broncos. Which team are we going to see? We've seen the two games that we've done on KCC TV, the two home games. We've seen the Broncos play very, very, very well. We've also had a chance to watch them on the road, and we've seen them play not so well. Is this a game because they're at home and it's homecoming? That's another variable in this decision.
All coaches have a problem with homecoming, and there's no doubt about it. There can be distraction, but you know, they kind of solidified their passing game well last week, to say the least. And they set all kinds of school records. And on top of that, when I was looking at it, there were a number of people that caught passes. Jermaine caught some passes. Noah Mathis caught passes. Schultz caught passes. There are a lot of receivers. and right now Jay Celine is playing very good football.
You know, it's very interesting. We had a chance to watch this team when he threw for about 40 times against Deer River earlier in the year. Then we go down and watch him at Greenway 2 weeks ago, and he goes 1 for 11 in the game for 14 yards. Last week he goes 29 for 49 for 361 yards and 4 touchdowns, all school records in that department. It was a performance where him and Riley Larson had something going on because Riley caught 16 of those balls for 220 yards.
Well, it's a family connection. We all know that. And
I did not know that till last week.
Oh, did you? Yeah. No. But yeah, they certainly were a pair. It was fun watching them, and they were having a good time. And Riley was just out of his head with some of the catches he was getting.
And it was the yards after the catch that impressed me so much.
That's right. He's a fine runner, and he's, you know, last week the boys were having fun playing football, and I think that was the difference between the two teams. And all of a sudden they realized they're a pretty good team. The other thing is that the Broncos' gift is team speed. And I'm not sure just where Two Harbors is, but Mesabi East could not match them with team speed, and that showed. Greenway, on the other hand, they're pretty good.
We're going to find out about maybe speed and on a muddy track tonight. When you look at this field, and I believe you're looking at it because I'm looking at the screen, I don't know if the TV screen does it justice how wet it is. You're going to look to the far end, or the far end zone to our left, where Two Harbors warmed up, and it looks like there's a big H or S in the end zone where the kids were running patterns. I had a chance to walk out on the field this morning, George, and my shoes were sinking in at least an inch on the near sideline. Not so bad on the far side, but this near side is in horrendous shape, and there's going to have to be some short, choppy steps today for everybody to stay vertical.
Well, I agree, but I think if there's a good side of this, I think Two Harbors has to have a drier field than the Broncos, because Broncos have a passing game. And if they're not slipping and sliding behind the line of scrimmage, they might be able to compete a few. Yeah, that's.
You told me earlier in this week, and other people have told me, Two Harbors used to be mainly a running team. This is a different team. They will go shotgun. They will go 4 wide receivers. They will throw the ball around, but their quarterback can run.
They can, and you know, and they can do all those other things, basically because, well, they've had to change from last year because they had all those horses and all those very fine running backs. But you know, their basic philosophy is run the football, and you know, if they can cart a few off, they don't have any of those 6'7" receivers and the rest of them to compete. But they do have some running backs, and they do have some wing backs, and you know, we have to cover the edge. We have to get good defensive line play. If they can match the defensive play that they had last week, we got a chance to win a game.
As we mentioned, Two Harbors is 3-2 on the season. The 3 games that they've won by 3 points, 4 points, and 12 points. So they've been in some tight games. They've lost by 15 to Cloquet. No shame in that. They lost by 23 last week to GNK. Like I said, this team seems to be a little Jekyll and Hyde right now about what we're going to see out of this team. So I'm very excited to see what the Agates bring, what kind of team we're going to see, and what kind of game we're going to see. Because personally, George, as much fun as we have up here, I'd rather be out on the field playing in this stuff today.
Oh, I know. There's nothing like playing in a mutter. And I've only played in a couple of them. One down in Duluth that was no fun at all. But one here on this field, and it was amazing.
We'll have an opportunity here to watch the interview I did with the assistant coach, Seth Edisted, and we will go to that interview now. Seth Edisted, Coach, let's start off by talking about the 38-20 win over Mesabi East last Friday. You had to be pleased.
Absolutely. Our boys came out and they did their jobs. And like we've been telling them, if everyone does their job, that's what can happen.
You had some big numbers offensively. I start with the 83 plays, which in a regular game is a ton of plays, which is obviously a product of the no huddle that the fans have gotten used to watching you run this year. Look at the logo behind. 49 passes in that game, 29 completions, both those school records, 361 yards, also a school record. And the favorite target was Riley Larson. Jay Celine and them had a connection on Friday night.
Right. Our goal, get the ball into your best athletes of the night. And now Larson is a heck of an athlete, and he was on last Friday for sure. There's been other games though where Sari's been the go-to,
Yeah.
or yeah.
It seemed that Jace, when things got going, maybe in a critical time, that he was looking to Riley to throw the ball to him. Is that something that he kind of felt during the game, or something that you guys discussed during the week, or something maybe you saw and your coaching staff saw early in the game?
You know, we didn't talk about it, but he knew. And by him knowing is he knew when I gave the play call or when I set up the formation, or we as a coaching staff
Sure.
set up the formation, he just knew what we were thinking, which is fantastic that we were on the same page. I would motion a guy away and he knew that Larson was lined up, and him and Riley have had that great connection on those fade passes, and he knew what was coming, and he knew that was going to be his first look.
Guys were also able to run the ball at times during the game, so that had to make you happy that you guys were able to do both against Mesabi East.
Yeah, Noah Mathis with a second touchdown of the year, and it was a receiving touchdown out of the backfield. I like that little flare pass that he had.
Let's talk a little bit about the defense. One thing that I guess people looking at the defense would say, they seem to be giving up the big plays. So I go back to Moose Lake Willow River a couple weeks ago, a couple punt returns that were called back, but they also had a couple of big runs in the game against Greenway. I think 2 or 3 big runs, and of course last week the 80-yard touchdown pass early in the game that gave the Giants the early lead, and then also a big run. Is it possible to have a defense that can always stop those big plays from happening, or is it something that sometimes they're going to happen?
You know, we're talking bend, don't break. That's been our emphasis, and that's what we see is that they chip away, and it's little plays. You know, they'll get 2 yards, they might get 3, they might get a loss, but then it's those big plays that do break, and we're open with the kids about it. It's that counter play, or a trick play like that halfback pass that Mesabi threw at us right away in the game. The kids are maybe looking in the backfield a little too much and trying to see where the ball is, anticipating a little much, then trying to relax and stay true to their primary read.
This is just maybe an observation. You guys seem to be able to. You guys have a lot of guys. You guys have a lot of guys within the box, maybe within 5 yards of the line of scrimmage. Is that to kind of tell the other team, hey, you're going to have to make a big play to beat us? Is that kind of the attitude of the defense, to say, look, we're going to put people up in the box. We think we can defend you if you do spread out. We're going to get up in your face, and we're going to make you make a big play.
Exactly. Our gang tackling. We want every single person as close to the guy with the ball as possible. Now, again, with the counters or those big plays, Two Harbors is doing something new this year. They're going a little bit of spread. And so they'll come in tight with their double wing like a typical Two Harbors offense will run. And we're packing the box tight, but then once we spread out, we're going to have to spread out too.
So it's a lot like what we saw against Moose Lake Willow River, where they ran that double wing or a wing and a fullback and a deep tailback for many years. But now we saw Moose Lake go to this spread, and now we see Two Harbors. Is Two Harbors keeping the quarterback under center, or are they putting him back in a shotgun?
They're spreading out like a true spread. They'll come back out in shotgun. They'll do both.
Does that make your kids comfortable, because they see it every day in practice, and you've seen it with Moose Lake, and we've seen it with Greenway running a little bit of spread? Well, actually, every team has run a little bit of spread this year. It seems to be what everybody's doing.
Yeah. Well, when we're working on our pass routes, we are also working on defensive coverage. So we're not worried about covering the pass. Cornerbacks need a little emphasis this week because they will put the ball to the air, but our primary focus is defending that counter and defending their quarterback that likes to scoot.
So do you want to see some precipitation for this game, or would you rather see it be, it's going to be a muddy track, there's no doubt about that.
Right.
There's going to be some dampness on the field with all the rain that we've received, but would you like to see a little rain, or would you rather see it stay dry and all we have to worry about is a wet field?
Well, after the experience in Two Harbors last year that turned into a cow pasture, it was horrible. It was muddy. It was over their ankles. That was the last game they played on it that year because they canceled the future games because the field was so bad. I want to show them that we can beat them in a reasonable environment. So I'd like fair weather.
Last time the Broncos beat Two Harbors was the 2007 playoffs. They've won 11 straight games against the Falls. It seems like they have our number right now. What's the key for the Broncos to get that mojo back, or so to speak, and get things going with a win over Two Harbors?
Bounce back from any big plays that do occur. It's going to happen in football. Things aren't going to go your way in life, but being able to bounce back and refocus and grind out like we did after Deer River scored right away is what we're going to have to do.
When you think about this team and where it could be sitting coming in a couple weeks with the playoffs, it seems like a very, very good possibility with wins going forward against Evelyn and Virginia. You guys could be sitting as much as 6-2, 5-3, even with a loss in one of those games of the three remaining. That gives you a chance to be sitting with a home game. Was that the goal before the season started, to get a home game, or maybe were you looking for more than that and looking for maybe a bye with the 6-team section?
Well, that's a good question.
Yeah?
I haven't thought too much about whether or not we get a bye or not. We like playing football. We like having football games. That being said, it would certainly be nice to give the boys some rest going into that first couple of rounds of the playoffs. We'll be happy if we get home playoff games is the goal. Keep playing in front of our crowd and keep scoring points for our touchdowns and turnovers for Cancer Initiative.
Health for the team.
Absolutely.
Health is good? Everybody's healthy?
Everyone's healthy. Knock on wood a little bit always. But we are stretching. We're taking it easy. It's been difficult in this rain and this cold to keep muscles warm. But so far, so good.
Coach, thanks for the time. Best of luck.
Thank you.
Thanks, Seth Edestead, for his time there, and it seems that those interviews are a little lengthy, I'm being told, but we start yakking, and there's too much stuff to talk about, especially when you're winning, George. You like to talk.
You like to talk, and he's having a real good time. And the two of us have been through the mishmash of the last 3 or 4 years. Now all of a sudden they're having fun. We want to play football. We want to play football, entertain our fans. This is, this is kind of where they're at.
We talked about the wet field, George, here. We're also going to be dealing with some wind that's going to be going from left to right across the field. It's coming out of the west. So that's going to have an effect for the teams that want to throw the ball into that wind. It's going to be very difficult, and it's going to make maybe interesting enough that maybe some team in the third and fourth quarter is going to have to make a decision about, are we taking the wind or are we taking the ball? How do we want to do this? Do we want the wind in the third quarter or the fourth quarter? Again, that's why we love the game. You got to make those decisions.
Well, that's right. And fortunately for us, it's out of the southwest. We got plenty of protection from the wind over there. But there is going to be a little bit of a cross section. Maybe as the evening goes on, it'll die down a little bit, and there goes the purple.
Here comes the Broncos out onto the field and ready to take on the Two Harbors Agates. These two teams sitting both at 3-2 on the season, and Greenway sitting at 2-0 in the conference. They're a member in a Class 3A, so they've beaten both Two Harbors and the Broncos. So they kind of got themselves in the bird seat to win the Northeast Division White. But the public address announcer, Mark Loak, just about ready to go to the starting lineups. And so when that does get started here, we will have the starting lineups. So we'll turn it over to the PA guy here, and we'll go ahead and do that.
Number 9, safety, Carson Holmes. Number 18, linebacker, Garrett Dornall. 22, linebacker, Eli Schlangen. Number 23, linebacker, Clark Nelson. And number 25, also at a linebacker, Carter Hoffman. Starting at a defensive end, number 35, Jake Van Kekkerix. At a safety, number 44, Sam Johnson. At another defensive end, number 56, Caleb Martinson. At a nose tackle, number 68, Caleb Waldron. And at the cornerback, number 88, Spencer Jackson. Agates are coached by head coach Tom Nelson. And now your International Falls Broncos! Starting off at number 2, senior quarterback Chase Lee. Number 5, senior wideout Anthony Shea. Number 10, junior wideout Tucker Hill. Number 13, senior wideout Jackson Strong. Number 34, junior wideout Riley Larson. Your fullback, number 30, senior Noah Mathis. Starting on tackle, number 54, senior Travis Taylor. Starting at another tackle, the junior, number 57, Paul Harder. 67, excuse me. Starting at center tonight, sophomore, number 58, Gavin Lovelace. At guard, junior, number 64, Cody Johnson. And at the other guard, junior, number 77, Gavin Wilson. The Broncos are coached by John Fromke, Jared Koschik, Seth Edestead, Dave Edestead, Seth Norman, and Cody Helene. Referees for tonight's game are James Steinberg, Kurt Schneider, Greg Steininger, Tom Hofdahl, and Don Lalonde. Now, if you'd please rise and face the flag. Gentlemen, please remove your hats as we honor America with the playing of our national anthem.
Well, George, we said it last week, and I'll say it again, turnovers, and that was a big deal last week with the Mesabi East game. Turnovers is going to be a big deal in this game, especially in these wet conditions.
Well, that's right, and they're going to have to really grab onto that football. I remember that's what Coach Nordquist always loved rubber footballs in weather like this, because the leather ones are slipperier. And I've had a lot of people say, you guys used illegal footballs. No, but they were made out of rubber. There's no two ways about it.
Yeah, it's one of those things now with the composites and everything that they're going on. I don't know if there's a big difference. Well, especially now when you get to the state tournament, you have to use their football, so it makes sense to have to use that during the season as well. And the officials have a plethora of bags to hold on to the towels in this game. And look, the Broncos will be look like they're going to be kicking off to start this game from our left to right, and it looks like it is going to be Jackson Schultz that is going to be kicking off here. So this will be the first time he's kicked off this year, as Travis Kaler is on the sideline. Maybe they want to get him off the field a little bit more. That is not such a horrible idea, George.
No, it's not.
To get him off the field because he rarely leaves it.
He does. He
So-
goes hard both ways.
Standing back deep for the Agates. Does that look like numbers? I can't tell, George. There he turned a little bit.
9?
I think that's 3. I think that's Eli Wiseman back there. It looks like to me. I know the back numbers on these Two Harbor jerseys, not too bad to see. The front ones are a little small, but we'll do the best we can. And
They're
as
going
I
to cover up shortly.
the mud will get on them, and then
Yes,
we
they
won't be
will.
able to tell you who anybody is. Jackson Schultz going to get this game underway as the Broncos taking on the Agates. Both teams 3-2. A big win here for either team, putting them towards the playoffs as Schultz gets ready to go. His short kick will come down about the 23-yard line. It's fumbled there, brought back to about the 18. This is actually number 9 who finally turns, goes north and south. Got some room along the near side and then slips and falls as he goes across the number 3 on the 30-yard line. That's Carson Holm on the return. And so he'll get a return of about 11 yards total. And the Two Harbors Agates will start 1st and 10 from their own 30. Well, they'll put it right on the 35-yard line, I guess. And they'll start from there. They put the ball a little bit in from the hash to try to keep things a little drier.
Yeah,
so you
less
won't
muddy.
see the ball always stand on the hash. As the Agates come out, they're going to come up with a wing. Couple of running backs. They split end to the far side. Quarterback under center here. Turns around. It's a handoff right up the middle. The Broncos have it stuffed there, and it's going to be no gain as number 58, Gavin Lovelace, will put the final touches to him, but number 40 comes off the bottom of the pile.
44, Sam Johnson. He's a Bammer.
And he's Sam the Bam Johnson.
Sam
we
the Bam
remember
Johnson.
from him from last year, no gain on first down. Will bring up 2nd and 10 for the Agates on this opening possession of this game here in the Northeast Division. Used to be a section game all the time, but of course Broncos dropping down to 2A and now a 3A versus a 2A. This is an unbalanced line for the Two Harbors Agates. There's a pitch to the outside to Sam, and he's going to be cut down out there by Riley Larson right at the line of scrimmage. Give him a gain of a yard, maybe a little bit more, as Larson comes up with the big tackle on the outside there from the defensive end position.
Yeah, a little assist from Jackson Germain, but they covered that well.
As you look at the defensive front, Mathis and Wilson in the inside. Your ends are Lovelace and Riley Larson. Number 35, that is Jackson Germain in the middle. Your linebackers are going to be Borger and Kaler, and your safeties standing back there a little bit. You're going to see Diego Christensen along with Jay Saline, and your corners are Sari and number 27, that is Brian Koenig. Handoff up the middle. Not much room to go there. Fall forward to the 39-yard line. It's a gain of 3 yards, and it will bring up 4th and about 6.5 yards for the Agates. As I look down just to see which side the official is going to mark this, because the two referees are in far different places. We'll call it a gain of 3, and it's going to bring up 4th and 6 here officially on this first series. Drop back deep is Brian Koenig. He's going to be on about his 35-yard line. I believe this is number 99, Sean McCarthy, ready
They're
to
going
punt it.
after this one.
Ready to punt here for the Agates. Snap is away, nearly blocked by Lovelace, and I think he did get a piece of it.
Yeah.
As it goes over, it just gets across the 50-yard
Yeah.
line.
Excellent
And Lovelace
effort.
did get a piece of that. I didn't know if he was going to get there, but a little Superman action,
You
and he
know,
got there, George.
he has got a nice long reach there, doesn't he?
He does. I had to give him a little grief in school this week because he was wearing his Iowa T-shirt around
Oh,
school,
wow.
and I had to tell him I didn't like it.
Time to
and
educate
he
him.
defended himself well. Here come the Broncos, 2 wide receivers each side. Helene along with Mathis in the backfield. Motion across the formation to start. Handed off up the inside to number 40, Noah Mathis. He'll get across midfield. We'll give him a short gain of 2 yards. We'll see where he puts the ball down, if he gets it to the 49 or the 50 here. Official drying the ball off. Has yet to put the ball down. We'll call it a gain of 3 yards, George. It'll bring up 2nd and 7 for the Broncos in Two Harbors territory, and the referee doing a great job of trying that football off, George. Same formation here for the Broncos. We'll see if Sari comes in motion again. No, this time it'll be Mathis that goes in motion. Drop back to pass. Throw it short. Sari has it. He breaks the tackle. No, that is Larson, and he's got enough for the first down, as it'll be a gain of 9 yards on the catch. So a nice flat pattern there, drag underneath by Riley Larson, and it's a gain of 9 yards, and it's 1st and 10 for the Broncos at the Agates 40-yard line. Second series of the game, first for the Broncos. Helene hands it off to Mathis, going off the left-hand side. He's pulled down a little bit in the backfield, and then he breaks away, and he'll get back to the line of scrimmage, and it'll be no gain for Mathis on first down, so brings up 2nd and 10 for the Broncos at the 40-yard line. And, boy, I'll tell you, the Agates got some pressure in the backfield that time.
They certainly did.
Big tackles up front there for the Agates, as here come the Broncos on 2nd and 10, 2 wide receivers each side. Helene stands in the shotgun at the 45-yard line. Lovelace the center. This is a handoff to Sari coming off the near side 40, breaks to the outside, and if he could have got past that tackle there of number 9, I believe that is. That is Holm in on the tackle. It'll be a gain of 3 yards on the play, and it'll be 3rd and 7 for the Broncos at the 37-yard line. Broncos will stay, it looks like, no, they're going to go trips to the far side of the field. As the players look over to the coaches, they've got the signal. 3rd and 6.5. Helene takes the snap. Looking left, throws across the middle. Larson had it. I think he took a little look out of the corner of his eye, George. He had enough for the first down, but could not come up with the catch. And it'll be a 4th and a long 6.5 coming up for the Broncos near the Two Harbors 36-yard line. Don't think the Broncos will punt here. This is territory where they'll go after it. They'll stay with the trips to the far side. They'll go with the bunch. Larson will be at the point of that bunch. Near side, Schultz all by himself, looking left, going deep over the middle, and he's going to overthrow Sari, as Sari was bringing that a little bit more towards the middle of the field, and Helene throws it over his head, and the Broncos will turn it over on downs, as Two Harbors will take over at their own 36-yard line. So both teams a punt and then a turnover on downs, and I think the field having a little do with what's going on here.
Yeah,
George.
it really does. Actually, I wouldn't have minded a punt in that situation and put it down on the
and try to
inside
pin
the
them in.
5, pin them in.
That is something that definitely could have been considered, and I'm sure it was. Here comes the traditional double wing for the Two Harbors Agates. Dropping back the passes, the quarterback, Comrade. He throws down the far side and just out of the reach of the receiver, and it'll bring up 2nd and 10 for the Agates from their own 36. As Comrade, the quarterback there, just a little bit out of the reach of the receiver on the far side of the field. Good coverage there by Anthony Sari.
Yeah, it was real close.
It's always tough when you come up in that double wing. You've got 2 receivers close to each other. Sometimes your 2 guys can run into each other, and that can cause some issues along that far side. The Agates are going to spread it out a little bit now. 2 receivers to the far side, 1 to the near side. Little pistol action in the backfield. Comrade barks out the signals. He'll hand it off to Johnson going to the far side. He tries to get to the outside, and he'll run in to Kaler and another Bronco player on the outside. We'll see who comes up off the bottom of the pile there. And it looks like it could have been Borger that was there at the end, but Kaler was the one who brought him down there. Johnson's going to pick up, we'll give him 3 yards on the play, and they'll bring up 3rd and 7 from the 39-yard line here. 7:20 and counting remaining here in the first quarter. No score. You can see that in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen. Again, here comes the double wing. Broncos come up and play it tight. Got 11 guys within 5 yards. This is going to be a pitch to Barrett. He goes to the outside, and it looks like he'll have enough for the first down. First time we've seen that power sweep for the Agates, and it's good yardage for Barrett, and he's got enough for the first down. It's a gain of 8 on 3rd and 7. And the Agates have their first down of this football game.
This one in at halftime. Says it has an hour and a half of battle.
Clock is moving. We like to see that, George, on a cool evening as we stand
Yes.
outside. Here comes that double wing again. Komarak, the quarterback. Again to Barrick off the far side. Had a hole there, and he squeezes through. He's going to have enough for the first down as the Broncos get some gang tackling at the end, but not before it's enough, I believe, for a first down, and they've already waved the chains on. It's a gain of 10, and another first down here for the Agates. Here comes Cody Jansen off the bench. He's going to replace Wilson at the tackle on that far side of the field. And we'll see if he gets coached up here and see what's happening on that far side. Broncos come with the 5-man line here as Jackson Germain comes down as the nose. They're going to bring Johnson back to the near side. A little bit of a slip there, but boy, there's a push up front, George, and it's a gain of 8 yards on first down. And right now, the Broncos getting pushed back at the point of attack.
3 successive counters, and they have to watch that counter. It just takes a half a step looking inside, and you're out of the picture. So, and right now they're running the counters in both directions between Sam Johnson and Barrick.
Wilson right back onto the field here as it's 2nd and 2 for the Agates at the Bronco 35-yard line. No score here in the first quarter. Handoff right up the middle. The Broncos all over that. Give Kaler, he was the first touch on the running back there, the fullback in the backfield. We'll see where they give him a lean forward here, and it looks like it's going to be a gain of maybe a half a yard. We'll call it no gain. We'll bring up 3rd and 2.
That was Jake Van Kickerix.
All right, thank you very much. The fullback, number 35. So here comes a big play. Of course, the Agates are thinking 2 plays from here to get a yard and a half or so. So you almost think that the Two Harbor Agates might think about going deep here and trying something interesting.
A little bit of a freebie, you're saying.
A little bit of a freebie. Broncos look like they're going to come with the blitz. Long count here by Comarack. This is going to be to Barrick. And he's hitting the backfield by Mathis, and he's going to be brought down for a loss on the play. We'll call it a loss of a yard for Barrick, and now it's going to be 4th and about, well, let's see where they put the ball down. Referee looks like he's going to put it right back on the 35-yard line, so we'll call it no loss. It'll be 4th and 2 from the Broncos' 35-yard line. Shotgun here. Pistol backs. Couple wide receivers to the far side, one to the near side. Comrack in the shotgun, puts a man in motion. They fake it to him, quarterback right up the middle, no place to go, and the Broncos will turn him over on downs, and that's Noah Mathis again.
Noah Mathis. He's so quick and so small, he just scoots in there, and he did that.
And so it'll be a loss of 4 yards on the play, and the Broncos take over 1st and 10 from their own 39-yard line. Big back-to-back plays by number 40, Noah Mathis, in the middle of that Bronco defense. Broncos will come out with a pair of wide receivers to each side. Helene along with Jackson Germain now in the backfield. Helene takes the snap, starts rolling out to his right as he's facing some pressure. Tucks it in. Now he'll look for a place to run, and he'll get across the 40-yard line, a gain of a couple yards for Jace. And he'll bring up 2nd and 8 for the Broncos at their own 41-yard line. Pocket collapsed in a hurry there, George.
Yes, it did. And old Jace, he just scooted right out, but you know, I mean, it could have gone a lot worse.
Two Harbors coming with 3 basically linemen, and then they're going to bring blitz, a couple of guys and see if they can bring some pressure on the Broncos. No backs in the backfield. Helene looks left, now looks over the middle. Wide open with Schultz, and getting a hand in there was number 23, Clark Nelson, for the Agates. So an incomplete pass for the Broncos, and it's now 3rd and 8 for the Falls from their own 41-yard line.
Yeah, that was Caleb Martinson. He's just a sophomore, but he was in his face the whole trip.
Seth told me that they might go to some no-back, and they've done that. Schultz catches it here at the 40-yard line. Got a block in front, 45, and he's going to be about a yard or a yard and a half short of the first down here, as he's going to get a completion here of 6 yards out to the 47-yard line, and it'll bring up 4th and about a yard and a half. And it looks like they're going to bring Mathis back into the game, bring Koenig out of the game. The Broncos are going for it here on 4th and 1.5 from their own 47-yard line. Two Harbors, did they jump offside? I believe they did when they tried to move their hand. And the Broncos are going to get a first down on the penalty against Two Harbors.
A lot of defensive lines are trying to do that, draw that offense off. I'm not sure what kind of a technique it is, but
so 5 yards, and the Broncos will have 1st and 10 in Two Harbors territory at the 48-yard line. So they'll bring trips to the short side of the field now. Riley Larson all by himself on the far side of the field. Mathis, the running back, to the left-hand side of Helene here. 3:25 left here in the first quarter. No score. High snap. Helene grabs it. Throws to Larson going on the fade pattern. Down the far side. He turns and cannot come up with that pass. Helene's pass needed to be to the outside, but a little bit too much maybe to the outside.
Well, I'll tell you, what Riley does is he looks to the inside, and he turns to the outside, and they practice that.
Yeah, no doubt about that. And Riley tried to get a piece of that one. I see Borger in the slot here now on the receiver on this side as Tucker Hell getting a rest on the sidelines. Borger played some offense the first game of the year, but not much sense. Here's a blitz. Helene sees it, takes off to the far side. Going through the muck and mire, he's going to get across the 45-yard line. Slipping and sliding the whole way. We'll give him a gain of 4, George, and it'll bring up 3rd and 6 for the Broncos at the Two Harbors 44-yard line. There was a blitz from the outside. That's what that 3-3. You're going to see blitzes from who knows where, and that's going to keep the offensive line very honest for the Broncos here. 2 wide receivers each side on 3rd and 6. Helene takes the snap, drops back, looks across the middle, got pressure, and he's not going to be able to get away. He's going to be sacked back in Bronco territory. It's going to be a loss. We'll call a loss of 7-8 yards on the play, George, and it'll bring up 4th and 14 for the Broncos, and it'll be a punting situation here. So Jackson Schultz will drop back to punt. Back deep, it looks like for the Agates is going to be number 44, Sam Johnson. He stands at about the Two Harbors 25-yard line. Cameron Schultz, I believe, the snapper here for the Broncos. I can't quite tell if it is. Yes, it is him, number 5. This snap's a little high, goes through Schultz's hands. He gets back, gets the kick away. It's not a bad one. He chops at the 35, and he'll roll inside the 25 down to about the 24 and a half, and he kept his composure very nicely, George.
No, he's...
And so he'll get 26 yards on, or 28 yards on the punt, and Two Harbors will take over 1st and 10 from their own 24-yard line. Their worst starting position, field position, in this football game with just under 2 minutes remaining. No score between the Broncos and the Agates here. Happy to have you along on KCC TV or kcc-tv.org.
Nice crowd tonight.
Great crowd for homecoming. Of course, a busy week at school with the kids and everything going on. And they had coronation in the Pep Fest early in the week, Monday morning, a little bit different. And so the kids got to enjoy being kings and queens for the week.
They did.
And so here comes 1st and 10 for the Agates from their own 24-yard line. This looks like this is the quarterback, Comarack, as he kind of did a little Kelly play, right? Looked like he rode it into the fullback's belly and then just turned right up behind him.
That's that UMD roll. It's
looks like Comarack will pick up 5 yards on the play, and it'll bring up 2nd and 5 for the Agates from their own 29-yard line. That's a tough play to stop, George.
It really is.
Okay, you're thinking about tackling the fullback, and then the quarterback slides off and gets a little bit extra yardage. But, of course, it's a danger play for the offense because you got that ball sitting in there, and that fullback, he wants that ball.
Well, it's the first play we learned at UMD, and they didn't teach us the second one. So
2nd and 5. Here comes the unbalanced line for the Agates. Turn around. This is going to be a counter coming back to the near side, cutting north and south. Enough for the first down there. I believe that is going to be, that is number 9, I believe, Carson Holt. And the Broncos will yield a little bit more than 6 yards on the play. We'll call it a gain of 7. And it'll be 1st and 10 for the Agates at the 36-yard line. Lots of bodies coming through there. The first guy in the purple jersey's got to sacrifice himself, just make a big pile of humanity.
Right.
And if the Broncos can do that, they can shut down this running attack.
Well, they're looking to the inside right now, and that's what's getting them.
Back to the double wing here. This is the fullback trying to go off tackle, and we got a flag come in, and it looks like it'll be in the place of holding as the umpire throws that one in there. It's a gain of 1 by Van Kekricks, and we'll see if the call is what I believe it to be. Coaches are already pointing, say, send them back. And I think they're going to step this off from the 35-yard line, so it'll end up being a penalty of 11 yards, I believe. We'll see where the official ends up putting the ball down. He'll drop it right on the 35, so it is going to be a loss of 11 yards. It'll bring up 1st and 21 for the Agates from the 25-yard line. Possibly the last play of the, yeah, it could be the last play of the quarter. We'll see how things pan out. And Darcy Sullivan, our producer over there, how things going? Good. I got thumbs up. Man, her first time ever pushing the buttons. She's smiling still.
She's having fun.
And that's what we talked about. You just got to keep smiling. double wing here for the Two Harbors Agates from their own 25-yard line. Comrick drops back the pass, looking deep down the far sideline, and just out of the reach there of Kyler Pitkin.
Oh, they're going to nail him.
And there is no uncatchable ball in high school football. And I thought that penalty was well past when the ball went by, but they're going to call this one on the Broncos. And so it'll be a 15-yard penalty, and it'll bring up 1st and 6 for the Agates, I believe, at the 40-yard line is where they will put the ball. And it'll stay first down. It's not an automatic first down if I recall my rules for high school football correctly. So 1st and 6 here for the Agates from their own 40-yard line. And I can see the coaching staff asking the referee, well, what's going on? And I think they got it right. They put the ball down at the 40-yard line here, and everything will be right. As I mentioned, 1st and 6.
Automatic first, isn't it?
There you are.
No, it is not an automatic first down. That's the one change about high school football from college and the pros. I don't know why, but that's the way that it is. 1st and 6 here. Comrack under center. A little flip there is catching the running back from behind will be Riley Larson. That's number 25, Carter Hoffman. The running back, as Larson runs him down from behind. It'll be a gain of about 2 yards, 3 yards, 2 yards we'll call it. And when we come back here for the start of the second quarter, it'll be 2nd and 4 for the Two Harbors Agates. You're watching Bronco football here on KCC TV, Midco Channel 7, and also online at kcc-tv.org. And as we mentioned, this game is brought to you by KCC-TV, Coochiching County Community Television, Cable Channel 7. And we'd like to thank our members and sponsors for their continued support of our station. And I know we've picked up a couple of donations over the last couple of weeks. We're happy that people are able to watch this game, sit in the comfort of their nice chair, and put this game on Channel 7 or on their on the internet. And of course, to live stream this game to your phone, computer, or TV, visit our website at kcc-tv.org and click on the live stream link at the bottom of the page.
Around the world, Tim. They're
Around
watching
the
all
world?
over the place.
You think
That's
they're
all.
watching this around the world?
I know that they're watching out there in Seattle, and I know that they're watching probably down in Iowa and out in Boston. I know some people that are watching. Yeah, there's some people.
Well, and we hope that there's lots of people watching here in the Falls
Yes.
as we do what we can. I see the Twins are up 2-1 in the bottom of the 3rd inning, so that's a nice thing to see. As we hope that you're not channel surfing too much. I would have had 2 TVs on home. If I'd be sitting, I'd be watching the Twins on one and what the Broncos are doing on the other. We're scoreless here after the first quarter, and as we come back out to the second quarter, it's 2nd and we'll call it 3.5 for the Two Harbors Agates on 2nd down. Handoff to the near side, near the 45-yard line, and it'll be just a little bit short, about a gain of 2 yards. We'll call it a gain of 3 as it's going to come up to a 3rd and 1 for the Agates from the 45-yard line. And again, number 40, Noel Mathis, coming off the bottom of the pile there. So a big play here, 3rd and 1. The Broncos were able actually to come up with a stop early in the middle of the first quarter as they were able to stop the Agates on short yardage. Comrec under center. Blitz coming from the Broncos. This is handoff to the far side. Stopped in the backfield, but give number 9 there, I believe this is, for the Agates, Carson Holm. Give him lots of kudos there. He found some room off the left-hand side, and it looks like he's got enough for the first down, and he does. We'll give him a gain of 2, and the Agates have 1st and 10 from their own 47. So the Agates come to the line of scrimmage. The umpire still cleaning the football, so I don't think we're going to have any delay of games in this game, George.
No, I don't think so. There's a lot of towels down there.
Comrack with the double wing. Drops back to pass, looking left. Got a receiver there, covered well by Koenig, and it's a little bit out of his reach, and it'll be an incomplete pass. And I was watching for the flag there, George.
There was some holding going on.
I thought there might be a little bit coming there, but none happened, and it'll bring up 2nd and 10 for the Agates. Under 11 minutes remaining here in the second quarter. No score, as you can see in your lower left-hand corner of your television screen or your computer screen or your phone screen or whatever you're watching us on. We're happy to have you along. Glad we can be able to bring you this third football game coverage this year. We've also done a volleyball game. Of course, we'll have the final game in a couple of Wednesdays, as it is MEA week. The Broncos will be hosting the Virginia Blue Devils in the last game, regular season game, on the 16th. 2nd and 10 for the Agates from their own 47. Quarterback going to follow in behind, tiptoeing his way up, and he'll get a gain of maybe a yard or two. And boy, lots of purple jerseys there. And we'll see who comes up off the bottom of the pile. Number 58, Gavin Lovelace, will be there as the quarterback picks up, what do you want? We'll call it 2 yards, George.
Gavin keeps on turning them in. They're going to be in good shape.
That is correct.
Both the ends are playing very well
It's
right
up
now.
on the KCC TV YouTube page if you just have a smart TV at home.
There you,
or-
see, there you. I learned something new. You can go to YouTube with your smart TV. Holy cow! 3rd and 8. Agates, little counter play here. No, it's the fullback up the middle, breaks the tackle. He's got one man to beat, trying to outrace Sari, and it is going to be off to the races, and it's going to be a touchdown for the Agates, and I believe that is going to be number 9, Carson Holm. I cannot tell his number on the back of his jersey, and it is going to be a 49-yard touchdown run for the Agates, and they lead it by a score of 6-0. And I thought the quarterback had the ball, and that's a nice touchdown run there for the Agates, and they lead it by a score of 6-0. So, like I said, I'm going to go that is Carson Holm on the.
I think it is too.
I just by the way he ran that, I think that's who it was. Here's the extra point kick up, and it is good by number 99 there,
this
Sean
team can
McCarthy.
kick. He can kick.
He can kick the ball pretty well.
Yeah.
So Sean McCarthy with the extra point, and the lead is 7-0 here in favor of the Agates with 10:03 remaining in the second quarter. And you know, you keep stopping that play, George. You keep stopping that play, and then all of a sudden, somebody slips, falls. All of a sudden, the hole's there, and he's gone.
Yeah, I tell you, he has a great running offense. You and I have both worked the double wing. We know the damage you can do with it.
That's an 8-play drive of 76 yards. Wow, I forgot that they started way back on their own 24-yard line. And so the Broncos trailing here 7-0. They trailed last week 8-0, George, against Masabi East. Of course, that was only about 4 or 5 minutes into the first quarter. So we'll see how the Broncos responded. They responded very, very well last week, and we'll see what they do here as we get out here ready for the kickoff. And dropping back deep is going to be Thompson, Hell, and Koenig. And they're going to drop back plenty deep with, this is going to be number 35. This is Van Kekricks that will kick off for the Agates. Of course, on this muddy field, kicker can slip, just barely nub it along, and it could look like an onside kick. So the boys up front have to be ready. Make sure that the ball goes past them before they start running down the field. Koenig stands on the 15. Thompson and Hell back at the 10-yard line as Van Kekricks will kick it off here for the Agates. Ball is in the air. It's going to go to the far side of the field, and it will roll. No, not out of bounds. Hell picks it up on the 10. Tries to come to the near side. Avoids a tackle. 15, and he'll just take it right there on the return. So that's a kick of 50, and Tucker Hell will get a gain, a return of 5 yards, and the Broncos will start with their poorest field position of the game as they'll start back on their own 15-yard line as we're just under 10 minutes remaining in this second quarter. Sari and Riley Larson will be the receivers to the near side. To the far side will be Schultz and Borger. And the backfield is going to be, looks like Jermaine along with Helene. Thrown into the flat. Larson catches it at the 13. He's got a blocker in front of him. 20. Pushes forward, and he'll be brought down near the 23-yard line. We'll call it a gain of 8 yards.
Well, that's what you were talking about, what he does after he catches the ball, and that was a good example of that.
Well, you get a nice, you catch that ball behind the line of scrimmage so you can go out and block immediately, and it's going to be 2nd and 2 now. Very manageable down here for the Broncos. coaches have to be seen, and of course there's guys standing in the way. Defense saying, hey, we don't need you to see. Snap to Helene. He's throwing the ball down the near side. Sari is there, and he cannot come up with the catch, as got a hand on it, but Sam Johnson with the coverage, and it'll bring up 3rd and 2 for the Broncos from their own 23-yard line.
Yeah, that was a pretty hard one to catch in the mud there with Sam hanging all over your back.
Oh, you're saying that there should have been a penalty, George?
I'm saying it was close.
Yeah, I would say if that one on the far side of the field earlier in the game on the Broncos, this one close to that. So 3rd and a short 2 here for the Broncos. And the official making sure the ball is nice and clean. So again, we'll let that clock be stopped here on the incomplete pass. I was saying let that clock roll, but I forgot about the incomplete pass. So 3rd and 2 now. Gavin Lovis, the center. Little long count here by the Broncos. Now they're going to change the play. Helene takes the snap. This is going to be Helene off tackle. He's got enough for the first down. Comes to the near side to the 30, and he'll be tripped up there after a gain of 8 yards and a first down for the Broncos. He was looking to get out of bounds. I wanted to see him get that ball in the other hand.
Well,
I don't like him when he's carrying it on the near side.
This is a dilemma you have with Chase. He's probably the most effective running back. What do we got going on here? Oh,
so we got 3 receivers to the far side. Riley Larson all by himself on the near side. For those of you that might have missed, he had 16 catches last week for 220 yards, number 34 for the Broncos, and that makes him dangerous.
it does, and they know that.
So again, the official taking a good drying of the football here, and it's going to be just outside of the 30-yard line. Helene takes the snap, drops back the pass, looks down the near side, looking for Larson, and this ball is going to be just out of his reach and incomplete. So Helene trying to throw that fade there, and of course along this sideline, it's a
slippery. It's like
it's
catching
slickery.
a ball on the ice, you know. It's
That's an interesting way of thinking about it, George. Is 2nd and 10 here now for the Broncos. They're going to send 2 receivers to the far side, 2 back on this side now. Official's going to put the ball down. Well, he's still cleaning it up there. As he'll put the ball down on the near hash, which he didn't do early in the game, but I think now he's like, I just got to get this ball set down here so we can get things going. Coaches have a long time to discuss what play they want to have.
looks like Gavin Lovelace is adapting real well to that center position.
Yeah, and he got the start last week for a little while, and then Jared Wold, took back over. He's played center most of the year. You might recall Jared was ejected out of the game.
He was.
And is not available this week. Okay, so 8.5 minutes remaining here, as I've been told that the scoreboard is down, and I can now see that. So here we go, 2nd and 10 for the Broncos from just outside their own 30-yard line. Helene puts Sari in motion across the formation. Helene will hand it off to Jermaine. He's hitting the backfield. He staggers forward, kept the feet driving. He'll get a gain of about 2 yards out to the 32-yard line, and we'll call it 3rd and 8 yards.
That's his first carry.
Of the for the Broncos as I thought I saw Riley Larson going down. He's just trying to find a way to clean his hands off there. So here comes 3rd and 9 for the Broncos. Helene likely to put the ball in there. Here comes the blitz. Looking near side. And he catches, Borger catches it there. Tries to lay on the brakes and get the Two Harbors guys to go past. He's unable to. It's going to be a gain of 6 yards here on the catch by Borger. And it'll bring up 4th and 3 for the Falls from their own 37-yard line. And the Broncos are bringing their punt team out. And so Schultz will step back. Sam Johnson looked like he was going to go deep. This waited. Now he is going to go a little deep here. The snap a little high the last time. We'll see if the snap stays a little lower. This time it's a good one. Schultz gets the kick away. It's a low driver along the near side. It'll go out of bounds at the 45-yard line. So it's a punt of 18 yards in the muck here, and the Two Harbors Agates will take over 1st and 10 on their own 45-yard line. 7:22 remaining here in the second quarter, 7-0. The Aggies lead it. They scored on a 49-yard touchdown run by Cole Carson. I got that wrong, didn't I? Carson Holm.
Carson Holm.
Jeez. Sorry about that, Carson. I apologize. As keep track of those names. And so here come the Agates on 1st and 10 from their own 45-yard line. Up tight here in the double wing. Comrack under center. Going to drop back, look to pass down the far sideline. It's thrown into the flats and unable to hang on to it. There is looks like the tight end there, Garrett Jordahl, as just couldn't hang on to that wet ball, and so it'll be an incomplete pass and bring up 2nd and 10. And I'll tell you, George, Two Harbors has shown that they're not afraid to throw it on 1st down here.
No, they're not. They're not afraid to throw it at all.
And that's not always what you see out of a Two Harbors team. Here comes the unbalanced line for the Agates to the near side. Fullback up tight, tailback. They fake it to him. Fullback does have the football, breaks a couple of tackles, and he'll be just short of the 1st down, will be Van Kekricks. We'll call it a gain of 9 on the play. And it'll bring up a 3rd and 1. And of course, if you can pick up 9 on 2nd down, you can pass on 1st down that way. So I'm trying to figure out who just came on. They must have brought another lineman onto the field because Brian Koenig came out of the ball game. So here's 3rd and 1 from the Bronco 46-yard line. They'll stay in that unbalanced line, will the Agates. This is going to be a handoff back the other way, breaking through, and wow, did he just drive his feet there. Carson Holm with a big run there, and he got into the Broncos secondary, and it was number 2, Jace Helene, who came up with the tackle, and it's a timeout for the Broncos, and this is a good timeout, George, because right now the Broncos are getting pushed around up front.
They're picking up chunks, and that's one thing you don't want this running team to do is pick up chunks.
So it's a gain of 9 yards there for Holm by my count. 1st and 10, and it'll give me an opportunity to say if you enjoy this program, consider becoming a KCC-TV member, sponsor, or make a donation. With your continued support, we are able to live stream Bronco sporting events, school concerts, and community events. Information about making donations, becoming a member, or sponsoring programs can be found on our website at kcc-tv.org. And I'll say it this way, you see me around town and you want to make a donation like I've had happen, go ahead and do that. I'll make sure it gets to the correct places. But George, to be really honest, in order to be able to keep doing this, we're going to have cash.
That's just the way it is, and it's and we don't make up the rules, but we have to have the cash.
We've had some nice donations,
Yes.
A lot of people wanting to support us, but
a lot
at
of
the
compliments.
but the thing is, in order for us to keep being able to do this, we're going to need your help. So if you're sitting in your chair at home, you're sitting in Washington watching us, please consider making a donation and help us out to bring you more Bronco sporting events. 1st and 10 for the Agates at the Bronco 37-yard line. They'll stay in the unbalanced line. This is the fullback, and he is going to fall in the backfield. Van Kekricks going down there. Lovelace and Wilson there to bring him down for a loss. We'll call it a loss of 2. 2nd and 12 now for the Agates from the 39-yard line. Lamont Barrow coming into the ball game, going to give Gavin Wilson a break at one of the tackle positions. Scoreboard's back on. We love to hear that, and I always got to make sure, it's always something to keep things. Jay Boyle jumping around, right?
He's working. I tell you, they're really climbing all over the place.
Double wing here for the Agates. This is the quarterback. Comrack comes off the near side. Looks to break a tackle. I thought he had fumbled, but it was just a maroon arm or something flailing in the air. 7-yard gain for Comrack on 2nd and 12. And coming up off the bottom of the pile, Riley Larson and number 58, Gavin Lovelace there. It's a gain of 7 yards for Comrack. It'll bring up 3rd and 5 for the Agates at the Bronco 32-yard line.
This is a big play right here.
Well, and it's a big play in the fact that the Agates really have 2 plays to get this 5 yards.
Yes.
And they can be, they got a lot of options to see what they want to do here. This is going to be run to the near side, turning north and south. They had the running back there, number 7. Is that number 7? No, that's number 2. Barrick, I believe. That turned north and south. He got across the 30-yard line. Is that a 7 or a 2, George?
Well, I've been marking him down as a 2.
I don't have a 7 on my
no, I don't
on my
either.
roster, so I'm just going to call him Barrett for now, and I think he was running early in the game as well. It's a gain of 3 yards on that last play, and it's 4th and 2 from the Bronco 29-yard line. And if that last play was a biggie, George, this one's even bigger here. We'll see if the Broncos can come up with another turnover on downs. We'll see how aggressive defensive coordinator Jared Koshik gets on this play. The Agates go unbalanced line. They've had success with this formation. It's the counter, and boy, this is going to be close. This is going to be real close. If they go with the guy on the far side, he is short, is home, and I think, and it is, it's a turnover on downs. The Broncos come up with the stop, and they will take it over on about their own 28-yard line.
Good old 58 down there doing it again.
Was it 58 again?
58 again.
Man, I'll tell you that Gavin Lovelace in that Iowa T-shirt. We'll see what he has to say next week about that.
If he keeps on playing like this, I'll buy him another one.
So, 3 receivers to the far side of the field. 1 to the near side in Riley Larson. Helene in the backfield along with Noah Mathis. Broncos looking to get on the scoreboard here, trailing 7-0. Helene drops back to pass. Feels some pressure. Got a lot of green grass in front of him. 30, 35, 40. 45, and he'll step out of bounds about the 46-yard line. It's a gain of 18 yards for the quarterback, and the Broncos have a first down.
Well, that's the dilemma. He's the best passer and probably the most effective running back. What are you going to do with him?
What are you going to do with that? And all I'll say is this. I saw how it opened up. I knew he had to pull that one down and run.
How many did you get on that?
18 yards on that, and it's a first down for the Broncos. 4 wide receivers, empty backfield for Helene. First time we've seen the Broncos go with a quads to one side. Helene going to run it again up the middle, tiptoes. He's across the 50, down near the 45-yard line before he'll be dragged down there. It's a gain of 8 yards.
Or more.
And we'll call it 2nd and 2 for the Broncos at the 46-yard line. So Helene with nobody in the backfield to help him out, just 5 running backs in front, and the Broncos liked it so much they're going to go back with the quads on 2nd and 2. Riley Larson with a lot of green grass over here on the near side. The Agates are saying, how do we counteract this? What are we going to do? High snap. Helene has it. Looks for Larson along the near side. He breaks back on the ball, catches. Oh! Went right through his hands. That ball being thrown into the wind. That ball died. Riley Larson did a great job of coming back to it, but he could not hang on to it with those wet, muddy hands. And the Broncos will have 3rd and 2 from the Agates 46-yard line with under 4 minutes now remaining in this first half. Broncos trailing it 7-0. They go back to the quads on the far side. Looks like Helene's going to go under center here, however. That usually means quarterback sneak. That's what he wants. He's to the 45. And depending upon the spot, it's going to be really close. I think he's going to be a half yard short.
I think he's got it.
We'll see what the officials say. They may bring the chains out on the field for this one. And they're saying 4th down right now. They aren't not even going to measure this, George. 4th and a short one coming up for the Broncos. The official puts the ball down. And now they're deciding. And
they got to take a look at that.
They're going to measure.
They got to take a look at that.
They're going to measure.
As my old coach said, it's not even close.
It's not even,
Not even
I hear you.
close.
So what I'm wondering is how our sideline camera guy is doing down there, George. You think he's having some fun?
Yeah, not as much fun as we're having because
I don't know if he can hear us or not. Oh my gosh, there's the thumbs up.
He can hear us.
That's always good to know that he can hear us. We've got the device out to be able to do that. Here's the measurement. Referee standing right in the way of our camera, of course, and he is 6 inches short. No, but let me see. 6 inches short. So here's 4th down for the Broncos and 6 inches to go. The Two Harbors Agates know what's coming.
Yes.
I know what's coming.
I do too.
Now can the boys get her done up front?
That's the key.
That is the key. So the Broncos are going to come up with a formation that they've not run all year. 2 tight ends, 2 wings. Mathis, the running back, 5 yards deep. Under center. Ooh, he just about fumbled that snap. Helene leans forward, and boy, it's not a very favorable spot, but he's got enough for the first down, and that's all that matters.
Looks like he lost the grip right at the exchange.
At the exchange with Lovelace, and they don't work probably on a lot of direct snaps there.
Got it. I think he delayed to find the hole.
Yeah, it looked like he bobbled it just for a second, and so the Broncos 1st and 10 at the 44-yard line. 3 minutes and counting now remaining here in the first quarter as the Broncos trail 7-0. Trips to the far side of the field, right in the middle. Helene looking right, throws down the far side to looking for Schultz, and boy, lots of contact over there, but late, and they'll call it incomplete pass. So 2nd and 10 for the Broncos. Two Harbors had pretty good coverage there as the Broncos, well, there haven't been a lot of open receivers. Give Two Harbors a lot of credit.
No, and I'm not so sure Helene isn't having trouble gripping the ball. That seemed to kind of just slip out of his hand.
No doubt about that. That could be part of the puzzle here. 2nd and 10 with 3 receivers in a bunch to the far side of the field. Helene has it, facing pressure. Throws across the middle. Sorry, he has it. He's got enough for a first down as he's taken down inside of the 25-yard line. It'll be a gain of, we'll see where they mark it, 19 yards. And the Broncos have it at the Two Harbors 25-yard line. And Sorry did a good break on that one. That trips bunch, everybody crisscrosses, and if you're playing man-to-man, it can make things very difficult.
They really can.
So here comes 1st and 10 for the Broncos at the Two Harbors 25. They'll bring the trips bunch to the near side. Two Harbors got 3 guys out there trying to cover it. Helene takes the snap, looks left, throws the fade for Larson. He comes inside, comes up at the high point, comes down with it, and he's got a first down inside of the 5-yard line for the Broncos. And the Broncos will have 1st and goal from the 5-yard line. So I'll call it a gain of 20 yards.
Looks like a 1st and goal on a 5-yard line.
Now the Broncos with 2:20 and counting remaining here. We'll see. They'll go to 2 running backs. Mathis and Jermaine in the backfield. 2 receivers to the far side. Helene along the near hash. He's going to run right behind those big running backs. Turns to the inside. He's down inside the 5. Touchdown!
Man, do I like that play.
And Helene goes in from 5 yards out, and the Broncos within a point here at 7-6.
Here come the touchdown.
So the Broncos go 72 yards in 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 plays. And the Broncos, they'll go to look to take the lead here with the 2-point conversion as the referee will put the ball on the left hash. This formation that if you've been watching the Broncos for, since 19 blah, blah, blah. Here comes the formation that the Broncos have run for the 2-point conversion. Helene under center. Takes the snap, rolls out to the right. Looking, throws, and he threw that one away, and it'll be incomplete. And the Broncos trail by a score of 7-6. And the Broncos do answer back with that 72-yard drive on 9 plays, and they've got within a point at 7-6. Good answer by the Broncos, George.
Good answer, and it was a good long drive. They both, they ran Helene real well. And he was really effective with the pass on that drive.
Well, he ran the ball 5 times. He threw it 4 times, and he completed 2 of those 4 for 39 yards. He did the rest with his legs as he picked up 26, 28, 33 yards. That way, 39 passing. That's how you get to 72, and the Broncos will kick it off here. And, of course, with 2:04 remaining, this is a big defensive series because
this is.
If the Broncos can come up with a stop here and go down into the locker room down just a point, that would be a big thing here for
they get their confidence back. And every time they play like this and they come back at the end of the first half and stuff, they start believing that they can win these games, and that's really important.
The Broncos also will get the ball at the we believe they'll get the ball to start the second half as the Broncos did kick off to start this game. So Jackson Schultz doing the punting and the kicking here this evening.
See the ladies walking around with the buckets. They said something where they got $1,200.
$1,200 last week, George. Yeah. Ball's going to drop about the 25-yard line, going to be picked up there to the far side. They fake the reverse and now turning and coming up across the 25-yard line and in on the tackle there for the Broncos. Number 11, Jordan Smith. Number 10, Tucker Hell. Late flag and 42 also there on the tackle. And I did not see any stuff going on behind the play, but this ball is going to be put down, well, to start off with at the 27-yard line. but we'll see what the flag is. This came in from the back judge. He was standing back where the kickoff was at, and he threw that flag about 15 yards. I'm not sure what the penalty is. We'll get here hopefully. The officials discussing what's going to happen, and Two Harbors almost standing back like they know it's against them, and it is a personal foul on the Agates. So that will push them back 15, half the distance to the goal. So they'll put it right at the 13.5-yard line. So we'll call it a penalty of 14 yards, and the Two Harbors Agates will take over 1st and 10. And that really changes maybe your thought process on what kind of plays you're going to call.
No, that's really a kind of really a hard penalty to take. They want to answer. They have time to put up a drive. And that really stifles it right there.
Coach Tom Nelson's not going to be happy with that.
No, he's not.
We should we'll tell a little story about Tom Nelson and what happened.
You better tell that
Well,
story.
what we told, what happened earlier this afternoon. So shotgun, 2 receivers to the near side, 1 to the far side, 2 running backs in the backfield on either side. Comrade, they're going to run a reverse, going to the outside. This looks like number 9 to me. This is Holm trying to get to the outside. He's got enough for a first down along the far side. And boy, that play I think caught the Broncos a little off guard. They hadn't seen that maybe before, and picking up good yardage, a gain of 16 on the play for Holm, and it's 1st and 10 for the Agates at their own 29-yard line.
We didn't know we needed it. So it's a good sign.
Getting to the outside there was Holm, and boy, I'll tell you, he got there in a hurry. Same formation for the Agates. Comrack in the shotgun. Takes the snap. He'll turn around and he'll hand it off. Trying to turn north and south, and there's a big hit from the inside, a gain of a couple yards for the Agates. As coming in there was Jermaine and also number 34, Riley Larson, coming up off the bottom of the pile along with Diego Christensen.
That was that hit and wrap that we used to teach a long time ago. Oh, Jermaine just really put the wrap to it. Jackson's getting to like this game.
2nd and 8 for the Agates from their own 31-yard line. 1:07 and counting remaining here. Will the Agates take a swipe and try to go deep here with the wind at their back? Comrack on the reverse. Holm has it to across the 35, and then he'll finally be stopped at about the 38-yard line. It's a gain of 7. It'll bring up 3rd and 1 for the Agates from the 38-yard line. And now the quarterback, Comrack, coming over to the bench quickly. He sprints back out on the field. 38 seconds and counting remaining in this first half. In on that tackle was Anthony Sari on the last one. Double wing here for the Agates. Handed out to the fullback. Van Keckers will have enough for the first down as he's up near the 40-yard line. 2 yards on the carry. 1st and 10 for the Agates. Clock stops with 22 seconds. I say Coach Tom Nelson takes a look at it. He's going to try to throw one deep here. The Broncos have to be very aware here that something, well, hey, anything can happen on a wet track here. George, here at Sports Stadium.
Well, the key is to get some pressure on the quarterback. And, when they're sloppy like this, that quarterback can't step up. He can't move around. But the defensive line's got to do it right now. 2
receivers to the far side, 2 to the near side. Comrack in the shotgun. Broncos will play their man-to-man defense here in the secondary. Comrack looks to the sideline, says, where should I go, coach? They tell him. Comrack takes the snap, drops back. They do get pressure on him, and he breaks out of it. Now he's going to go down as Jermaine. Fumble, and the Broncos have it. We'll see if they call them down.
Gavin Wilson.
Got to point one way or the other.
Gavin
and they pointed
Wilson
the Broncos have
Broncos
it
football.
at the 31-yard line.
Nice
and
job, Gavin.
That
fell
is
on
the
it.
last
Great alert.
play of the quarter. Oh, I didn't realize
I didn't
that
either.
the clock had run out. I thought there might be time left there. And so the Broncos will recover it there on the fumble recovery by Gavin Wilson, but it'll be the end of the first half with the score. Two Harbors 7, the International Falls Broncos 6. Don't go away, folks. Here at halftime, we're going to have all the homecoming festivities for you, and we're also going to have some video of the parade that our producer, Darcy Sullivan, took from this afternoon. So it's going to be a busy halftime. I see they put 18 minutes on the clock, so we're going to have a 21-minute halftime. So, George, we're going to have some time here to count up the stats and do what we need to do here as our producer, Jay Boyle, comes back into the seat. We'll see when he is ready to go. But I'll tell you, George, it was it was a half where nobody really got anything big going, and I don't think we expected anything different.
No, I think that this is the game we expected we'd see. And they're going to keep on hammering in it and, have Holmes and Sam Bam come at them. And
So put on your coach hat now, and you have it on most of the time.
Yeah.
But let me say this. The Falls is going to get the football when they come out for the start of the second half. Do you take the win in the third quarter, or do you wait and take the win in the fourth quarter?
well, I'll tell you right now, I'm hoping that the wind dies down and not be a factor.
So you'd rather take it in the third
I'd
quarter
rather
and hope
take
that it dies down?
I'd rather take it in the third quarter, yeah.
Well, I can tell you we're going to have a little bit of a drum solo out here initially at the start of homecoming. Andrew Bulk will get out there. He gave us a rendition Monday morning with the flashing lights, so we'll get him set up here in a few moments. And I look over at our producer and I ask him if what he's thinking. Are we going to show that, or are we going to go to the parade, or? Let's go to the parade for a minute, and we'll start there. And then when Andrew Bulk is set up and ready to go, we'll come back for that live.
Ladies and gentlemen, Andrew Bulk on the drums. Thank you, Andrew. International Falls High School freshman homecoming royalty queen Olivia Line, escorted by King Seth Lynch. Followed by all the 9th grade candidates. Harper Amdahl, escorted by Tristan Thompson. Tessa Can, escorted by Max Dremel and Kenyon Olson. Diane Lavoie, escorted by Julius Maish. And Maya Gilbertson, escorted by Cody Joslin. Now for your FHS sophomore homecoming royalty queen, Kaylin Cronin, escorted by King Diego Christensen. Followed by your 10th grade candidates, Grace Jensen, escorted by Gavin Lovelace. Megan McBride, escorted by Ben Glowak. Isabella Wilmarth, escorted by Mason Pullard. And Gracie Bowles, escorted by Nathan Anderson. And now your FHS junior homecoming royalty queen, Anna Windles, escorted by King Jack Maxwell. Followed by all the 11th grade candidates, Emma Erickson, escorted by Paul Harder. Lucy Kennedy, escorted by Tucker Hell. Maddie Pierre, escorted by Cullen Ring. And Chloe Sullivan, escorted by Joe Telman. And this year's homecoming royalty for the senior class of 2020 is Queen Anna Kalman and King Anthony Sari. Followed by all the 12th grade candidates, Tennyson Amdahl, escorted by Logan Colville. Keisha Kittleson, escorted by Jackson Germain. Maddie Olson, escorted by Jackson Scholes. And Macy Marcotte, escorted by Connor Timinski. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes your 2020 homecoming court. Please give a big round of applause to all our homecoming royalty and the candidates.
Welcome back here to Sports Stadium. I hope the lights are going to come back on, George.
Yeah, it seems to be.
I'm a little nervous that they haven't popped back on yet, but we've still got about 8.5 or so minutes before we got to go live with some football, so hopefully it'll be back on. A couple of updates for you. Halftime score, Cloquet 19, Grand Rapids 18. I don't have an update on the North Central football game. They're taking on Lake of the Woods down in Kelliher. I wish I had an update on that one. Final score, one game got started at 5 o'clock today. Esco beat Pine City 22-13. Some other games of interest along the way here. Virginia is at Mesabi East tonight. First game on the artificial turf at Mesabi East.
Hey.
How exciting would that be?
How exciting is that?
Evelyn Gilbert is at Greenway Nashua Keewatin. Crosby Ironton. We're on. I see. We'll wave to the camera. And Crosby Ironton taking on Aiken. Last update that we had there, Aiken was up on CI 16-6. And Moose Lake is at Mora.
That's going to be a tight game.
That's a big game.
Yeah.
And Royalton, we're going to bring Royalton into the conversation. They're at Long Prairie Grey Eagle, and you might ask, well, why do you give a rip about Royalton? Well, Royalton is sitting in the number 6 spot in the QRF in Section 7-2. 2A. If the playoffs were to start today,
we'd play Royalton.
We would be playing Royalton right here on this field. So we need to keep an eye on the QRF over the next couple of weeks, see how this is all going to plan out and how things are going to work out. So George, we had a chance to add up the stats from the first half. It's 7-6 on the scoreboard in favor of Two Harbors. The stats were just as tight.
Yeah, they were. And when you talk about the running effort that you have, you know, Carson Holmes, 7 carries for 91 yards, and he led the way. And all the rest of them, you know, Barrick had a couple of good runs, and he wound up with 24 yards. After all that, they really haven't pushed too much on the rushes, and you know, except the 47-yard touchdown.
Yeah, that you take that one out of the equation. We did use the word chunk yardage a couple times for Two Harbors. They were able to get some 9s and 11s and 7s. Those are the things that the Broncos have to stop. Try to put that offense into some long situations, and but Two Harbors has answered the bell pretty well. Broncos did have a stop down here to our left in the first quarter, which was a good one. I had the Agates for 143 yards rushing in the first half. They were 0 for 3 passing the ball.
That's big.
That's big. Comarack hasn't gotten loose yet, and that's what people were telling me about. You got to watch out for the quarterback running. I had Jay Saline 6 for 14 for 68 yards, and the Broncos 14 for 46 yards on the rushing aspect. So the Two Harbors Agates 143 yards of total offense. The Broncos with 114. So we said it was tight on the scoreboard. It's also tight in the statistical categories. Of course, the 1 sack. And of course the turnover for the Two Harbors Agates there.
Well, and
a
couple of drop footballs as well. You know, and it is sloppy out there. I know it's Riley Larson trying to scrape the mud off his hands, you know, and keep it clean. And it's just it's tough. But they're not done catching passes yet.
The lights have come back on the field. If anybody was concerned, like I was, but the lights look at full capacity. I'm looking at the flags, George. You were hoping that wind would die down. It feels like where we're standing outside here, George, that either the wind has died down or we're getting a better block of the wind.
Yeah, it's a lot of times it does die down in the evening. So maybe that was going to happen. Sometimes it doesn't.
Well, again, I still think it's going to be a very interesting decision to see what the Broncos decide to do. And I think you're right. I think the Broncos should take the win in the third quarter, try to get something going, and then hopefully, like you mentioned, the wind dies down in the fourth quarter, and then things are going to get ready to go.
On that last drive, they kind of pushed Two Harbors back on their heels a little bit, and they're going to have to do that 2-3 times before this game is over.
The Broncos were balanced. 14 passes, 14 runs in that first half. That's
go figure.
Go figure, because 2 weeks ago at Greenway, they had, I think, 36 rushes to like 12 passes. Last week was 49 to, 34.
Yes.
Because the Broncos ran 83 plays in that game, pardon me. And so we got very balanced here tonight. And I suspect that that's what will continue to happen in the second half because they're going to have to run the ball some. And I think you're going to see Jay Celine have to scramble a little bit as well.
Well, right now I'm taking a look at Lovelace and Helene practicing their nickel snaps, so their pistol snaps. So he's pretty good, I think.
I'll tell you, look down at the near sideline where the Broncos are at, and between the 40 and 50-yard line on this side, it looks like that's where everybody's been standing. It is mud a couple of inches deep there, and it's just something that the Broncos and the Agates here are going to have to work through. And, you know, the middle of the field, George, you can tell the Broncos a little beat up a little bit, but I'll tell you what, the field has held up pretty good on this end because nobody's really played down to the right towards the Little League fields. And we'll see how this field holds up. I was talking with the AD, Bill Mason, before the game. He said 3 games on this field next week, and I said, not if it rains all weekend. I said, I don't think you can do that. A JV game and 2 junior high games. All right, I got to tell my Two Harbors story, right?
Go ahead, tell it right now.
So about 4 o'clock this afternoon, I received an email from the head coach of the Two Harbors Agates, Tom Nelson. He said, do you know where Bronco Nagurski is buried in the cemetery? And of course, I had to admit that I did not know where, so I made a phone call, and Tom and I talked on the phone, and I said, how far out of town are you? And he said, I'm 10 miles out. Let's see if we can get connected up. He brought his bus right out into the St. Thomas Cemetery here in International Falls, got his boys off the bus. They all stood behind Bronco's headstone, took a couple of pictures. Tom told a couple stories about Bronco Nagurski, and then they got back on the bus. And I'll tell you, that's understanding the legend of Bronco Nagurski,
Yeah,
and kids should be exposed.
And Nelson really adopts to the, you know, the coaching attitudes about Nagurski and all the rest, and just in his coaching colleagues. This is important. Nelson's a teacher and a very fine coach, so this doesn't surprise me at all. It's just that it's a pretty cool thing that he did, no doubt about it.
It's a very cool thing that he did, and the Broncos are going to receive. They are going to go into the wind in this third quarter. They are going to go from right to left. I believe Van Kekricks, we'll see if that's him. It does look like him, ready to kick it off here for the Agates. And back deep is Thompson, Koenig, and Tucker Hell. As I get myself reset up and ready to go here, waiting for the whistle from the referee. I can't figure out what he could possibly be waiting for. The scoreboard's ready to go. Chains are ready to go. The official is, oh, there's headlights on down in the end zone that are shining right into the.
At the end of the stadium down there, underneath the clock, you got to turn your lights off, please.
So
please turn your lights off.
So we'll see if they get the message down there, and so we are not going to get this second half.
There it goes.
There they go. And I could not see those, but the referee could, and so maybe the guys catching the football said something. And so Van Kekricks ready to get things underway here in the second half with Two Harbors leading at 7-6. His kick is a high one. It's going to come down to Tucker Hell at the 14-yard line. He heads to the near sideline, gets across the 20, 25, and he'll be brought down violently by number 25 there of the Two Harbors Agates, Carter Hoffman, and it'll be a return of 13 yards for Tucker Hell, and the Broncos will start 1st and 10 at their own 27-yard line. And we'll see, they'll put it near the 28. We'll call it the 28-yard line. Broncos come out with a pair of receivers each side. Helene in the shotgun with Mathis alongside of him. Jay, a little louder please in my head. Thank you. Helene looks one way, then comes back to the near side. Riley Larson catches it, and he gets across the 30 and out near the 35-yard line. A gain of 6 yards for Riley Larson. Thank you, Mr. Producer. That is perfect. 2nd and 4 for the Broncos coming up at their own 34-yard line. That was a very popular play last week for the Broncos.
Yeah, it was.
Very difficult to defend because you almost got to say, all right, you can catch it. We're going to try to stop you short. Sorry, in motion.
Oh.
And Gavin Lovelace got a little ahead of himself there. It'll be, almost an illegal snap, but they'll call it a legal procedure here. And it'll bring up 2nd and 9 for the Broncos back at the 29-yard line. Lovelace knew it, couldn't stop himself. It was, sometimes the way it goes.
There have been remarkably few penalties in this, slippery field and all.
Here comes 2nd and 8.5 for the Broncos. Sari comes in motion across the formation to make 2 receivers on each side. Helene drops back, throws across the middle. Borger had it in his hands and he was hit. And from behind there, that again is Carson Holm, number 9. He broke that play up, and it's going to be an incomplete pass. And it'll be 3rd and 9 for the Broncos from their own 29-yard line on this opening possession of the second half. Broncos trailing it 7-6. As the Agates scored first on the 49-yard touchdown run by Carson Holm with 10:03 remaining in the second quarter, and then the Broncos tied it on got within 1 on the Helene 5-yard touchdown run. Sari in motion across the formation. Helene, a lot of time, throws it back across the middle and almost intercepted by Sam Larson, I believe, or Sam Anderson. No, that is number 18. I thought it was that shows you how much I was making a guess there. Garrett Jordahl breaks that one up. Incomplete pass as Helene came back across the formation a little bit on that one. And it'll be a 3 and out here for the Broncos on first down as Schultz will drop back to punt. He stands on his own 15-yard line. Sam Johnson, the return man for the Agates, he stands just on his side of the 50-yard line. Official has the ball dried very nicely. Let's hope here for Cameron Schultz, the snapper for the Broncos. Snap is a good one. Schultz gets the kick away. It'll come down to Johnson at the 46. Slipped a little bit. Now gains his feet. Tried to get to the outside. And a great tackle there by number 42 for the Broncos. That is Huffnagel on the tackle as he played that very, very well, did Christian. And so the punt there of 25 yards, a return.
That was a good tackle by Huffnagel. He doesn't get a lot of play in there, but boy.
I like this kid. He's going to be a football player.
Yes, he is.
He's out there on the kickoffs and the punt and always seems to be around the football. 1st and 10 for the Agates at the Bronco 49-yard line. Their first snap of the second half. Ball comes back to the near side. This is Johnson. He's stacked up, spins, and leans forward, and he'll get across the 45-yard line. A gain of 4 for Johnson on first down. Bring up 2nd and 6 for the Agates from the Bronco 45-yard line. Anthony Sari comes up off the bottom of the pile, I'm told by the PA announcer there, Mark Glowak. Thank you, Mark, for helping me out.
And John Borger as well.
And so the Broncos looking to stop the Agates here and just trailing 7-6 here, but that next score so important in this football game. Agates stay in the double wing. This time it's going to be to Holm. He turns north and south. He gets to the 40, keeps the feet driving, leans forward, and he's got enough for the first down at the 38-yard line. We'll call it a gain of 7 yards, and it'll be first down for the Agates at the 38-yard line. You know, for a big guy, he turns and gets north and south and gets back up to speed in a hurry.
He does.
And with a kid that size, you don't always see that happen, but seems to run well. Well, can I say this? He runs to his left very well. And when you get a lot of work at that, you get better and better at it. And like I said, he looks very comfortable at finding that hole when he goes to that left-hand side of the Two Harbors offense. 1st and 10 here. Comrack will pitch it to Sam Johnson. He turns north and south. He's across the 30 and nearly broke that away there. As throwing him down there was Riley Larson. We'll call it a gain of 10 yards on the play. It's a first down as they push the flags, and there's some chunk yardage, I guess, the stakes. And we'll call it 1st and 10 at the 27.5-yard line. And Schultz will come in the game, replacing Borger.
Well, we used to say we don't care what happens between the 20s while we're there. So it's
we're getting close.
We're getting close.
Stay with that double wing, do the Agates. This time it's to Holm. He turns across the 25, breaks the tackle, and he's going to be pulled down at the 21-yard line, a gain of 7 yards. So on 3 plays, 7, 10, and 7 here. 24 yards for the Agates on the last 3 plays. And they'll have it 2nd and about 3.5 at the Bronco 22-yard line.
Holm just went over the 100-yard mark.
And we get a whistle, and somebody lost the little hand warmer there, so they'll get that picked up But right now, chunk yardage for the Agates. The Broncos have to find some way. You know, in the old days, George, you know what we used to say? If they're pushing you on, you got to bring another lineman down. Could the Broncos go 6-man line here?
Well, look at
and that's something to think about. Comrack gives this one to Holm. Gets pushed wide, and he's going to be brought down by Gavin Lovelace. And that's going to be a face
flag.
I believe this is going to be a face mask because looked like he
so.
got up a little high on that tackle. Did Lovelace, and we'll see if that is the call. Waiting patiently for the.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Man, the way he pulled them down, it looked like it would have to be the 15 to me, but we'll see.
And Gavin pulls him down like that all the time. I didn't know he had the helmet. But
so the official, he doesn't look convinced that it was a face mask, but he's. Wait a second. Legal hands. Wait a minute. Wait, let's do this
hands
again.
to the face.
I don't know what.
What are they?
I'm not sure what the call is, George. This looks like this is going to be
against Two Harbors.
It's going against Two Harbors. So. Okay. So the stiff arm to the face, Jay Boyle is thinking, and that very well could be. So Two Harbors will take the 5-yard penalty after the play. So it will be 2nd and 9 at about the 27-yard line.
That was dangerous.
So
Go in front of the camera next time.
double wing here. This is going to be the counter play. Lots of confusion in the backfield, and the Broncos, a great job. Now the Broncos getting a push with their defensive line up in the front. Mathis, along with number 34, Riley Larson, getting a good push, pinching everything down, closing everything up, and it's no gain for the Agates.
Was that Holm on that one?
That was Holm, and that is going to be 3rd and 9 now for the Agates from the 27-yard line. And whatever the Broncos did there, and I see that's Cody Jansen in at the one tackle along with Noah Mathis. They got to continue to keep doing that in the middle.
Low helmet wins.
3rd and 9 will Comrack throw. It certainly looks like he's rolling out to the near side, faces some pressure, throws it in the flat, complete, and coming up with a nice tackle there is going to be Anthony Sari. After the completion there to number 35, Van Kekrick's out of the backfield. It will be the first complete pass for the Agates in this game. It'll be a gain of, well, we'll call it a gain of 5, George. 4 yards only. And we'll call it 4th and 5 for the Agates at the Bronco 23-yard line. We talked about big plays earlier in this game. Here's the next big play in this game.
Right now.
And you would think that this ball is going to go into number 9's hand, Carson Holm.
I would guess.
But they also might put Comrack on the roll and see what happens and see if he can pick it up with his feet, give him a run-pass option to the outside.
Yes,
receivers abound. Comrack in the shotgun on 4th and 5. He's got to reverse. This is Carson Holm. He's got a hole over there, and then it closes down, and the Broncos will come up with the stop there. Good pursuit from the backside there, and that was number 54, Travis Kaler, who will come up with the tackle, and it'll be a gain. Well, no, it'll be no gain on that play for Carson Holm, and the Broncos get the stop, and now trailing 7-6 with 6:48 remaining in the 3rd quarter. Broncos possibly looking to take their first lead of this game if they can get something going here. The Broncos are going to come with 4 receivers to the near side. They go 1 to the far side. Empty backfield for Cody Helene with those 5 linemen in front of him. This is a run right up the middle. 25, breaks a tackle, 30.
There he goes.
Races, 40, 50. One guy to beat, and he won't beat him. That's a great job out there by number, I believe that looks like that number 7. If that's Barrick out on the far side there. And boy, that's a big run there for Helene. And they put the ball at the 40-yard line, so it's a gain of 37 yards, George. And a first down for the Broncos in Two Harbors territory at the 40-yard line. I look and see now, that is going to be, I think that might have been number 2, Dylan Barrick, that came up with the tackle. Helene, again with the empty set, throws it along the near side. Larson there, and
there's a flag. There's a flag.
Larson tried to come back inside, and the flag will be thrown on Sam Johnson there. Not much else he could do on that one. He was trying to play the ball and the man, and so a 15-yard penalty coming up here on the Agates, and the Broncos have another first down, this time at the 25-yard line. So they go from their own 23 to the Agates 25-yard line in 2 plays. And so the Broncos moving the ball well, getting all of a sudden you see, as a defender, you see 4 receivers to one side, and you're like, how are we doing this?
And Riley's doing one of those twist routes that he does, and, Johnson was really back on his heels. He had really no choice. He just ran into him.
2 receivers each side as Mathis will come into the backfield here on 1st and 10, and Coach Tom Nelson coming out to talk to the referee. He wants to know something. I would love to be in on this conversation, George. Can we drop a drone in here, Jay?
Yes, that'd be nice.
High School League says no drones.
No drones.
No drones. Those dirty buggers. What are they thinking?
We got to give you that little sideline hookup for voice and give it to the ref.
So, I don't know what the conversation was about, but the Broncos have 1st and 10.
Oh, and
at
Tom
the
doesn't
Agates
like
25-yard line. They might be trying to talk about uncatchable, but that's not a rule. Jackson Schultz catches the ball on the far sideline, and he's going to be taken down near the 20-yard line. Complete pass here to number 13. And they'll put it down at the 19, so it'll be a gain of 6. And 2nd and 4 for the Broncos coming up from the Agates 19-yard line. Well, now the PA guy changed his mind. He said it's only a gain of 5, but we'll put the ball down at the 20-yard line. 2 receivers each side. Mathis a little wider. Here comes a motion. Borger, look for it. This is Helene. Breaks a tackle in the backfield. He's got enough for the first down. 10, and he's inside the 10-yard line where he'll be forced out of bounds, I believe. And it will be a first down. I'm going to say right at the 10-yard line, maybe a shade inside. And I'm going to say, geez, I wish they'd have painted those lines today. Now that I'm 50 yards away.
Helene is limping.
And so 10 yards. No, they do bring the chains off. So this is a 1st and goal situation. It is a gain of 10 yards, George. And so 1st and goal from the 10-yard line. Helene has 2 running backs in the backfield with him. Drops back to pass. Looks for Larson on the fade pattern to the near side. Up. Dabbled it, and incomplete.
Oh, I thought he was going to bring it down.
Got the ball into his hands, but he could not hang on to it. And they'll say 2nd and goal from the just inside the 10-yard line. 5.5 minutes remaining here in the 3rd quarter. Broncos trailing 7-6. Both teams scored a touchdown in the 2nd quarter. The difference in this ball game is that Sean McCarthy extra point right now, but the Broncos looking to take the lead here. 2nd and goal from just inside the 10-yard line. Helene with a pair of running backs. Fake the handoff one way. Goes back to Jermaine. He breaks up the middle. Tries to lean in, and he got down near the 5-yard line, I believe, where it'll bring up 3rd down for the Broncos from there. I'm going to say the 5-yard line, George. I'm going to say a gain of 5 for Jackson on that.
That's only Jackson's second carry
of the ball game. So 3rd and goal from the 5-yard line here as the players look over. They've got the play call from the near sideline. Broncos want to get this one in the end zone. They got 2 plays to make 5. I say the ball stays in Helene's hands. He's going to throw it. The slant. Larson. Hands up. Touchdown. Broncos. They lead it 12-7 on the 5-yard touchdown pass to Riley Larson, and the Broncos lead it by a score of 12-7. That is well thrown, and that is a well-caught ball by Riley Larson.
That's a beautiful play. In that mess, it's a beautiful play.
So the Broncos score with 4:48 remaining. Now they'll run the 2-point conversion, looking to go up by 7. $77 yards on 7 plays for the Broncos. Of course, the big one, 37 on the first play. Helene drops back. Now rolls to his right, throws it out in the flat, and that is caught by Schultz. For the 2-point conversion, and the Broncos lead it by a score of 14-7. Well, the Broncos did a nice job there, George. That's a nice drive.
Yeah.
7 plays, 77. Of course, they got 15 of it on the pass interference after the 37 by Helene. That put the Broncos in position to score, and they took advantage and they lead it 14-7.
Well, I think right now Two Harbors is having a real hard time handling trips on one side and double on the other. I mean, the Twins on the other. They're having a real hard time.
Well, it's something to see if the Broncos will continue to go to that along the way.
Oh, I don't think Riley's done catching passes tonight.
You don't think he's done catching passes yet tonight? Oh, the Broncos. The Twins down 5-3 in the bottom of the 5th. Come on, Twins, let's get this thing done here. Don't make me work too hard at this. Ready to kick off is Schultz. This one's a low driver that'll land about the 23, be picked up at the 19, fumbled around, reverse to Johnson to go in the far side, and the Broncos have it covered as Schultz will be right there. He kicks it off, and he covers it up right there. And so the Agates will start 1st and 10 from their own 20-yard line.
Well, they have time here the rest of this quarter to continue their run game, but sooner or later they're going to have to start putting it up.
Well, I think with the wind now, they've got 4:44 left. I think Two Harbors is going to try to put the ball up. The wind seems to me, by looking at the flags, seems to be picking up a little bit here. So we'll see what Tom Nelson and his crew have decided over there to do here in this situation. I see Gavin Wilson back out at the tackle on this, as him and Jansen have been alternating at that one tackle position. Unbalanced line here for the Agates. I don't know if the Broncos have noticed that it's unbalanced. Comrade throws it in the flat. Caught by Johnson at the 22, and he'll get out near the 26-yard line. We'll call it a gain of 6 for the Agates on first down there, and that'll bring up 2nd and 4 at the 25.5-yard line. Comrade goes about a third of the way towards the sideline, then gets a signal, and then runs back out to the huddle. The Broncos don't seem to be adjusting out of that unbalanced line, and I wonder if they need to make that adjustment. Here comes the double wing balanced formation for the Agates. Comrade takes a little longer look here. Going to hand this off to Holm. He tries to go off the left-hand side, and the Broncos trip him up there. And I believe that was number 34 from behind, Riley Larson, that got a piece of him from behind. Give him a gain of 3, George. And a 3rd and 1 situation for the Agates coming up at the 29-yard line. Well, I look over at the stakes. They got 3rd and 1. We'll see what the Agates call. Broncos have been pretty good on 3rd and 1 so far in this game. We'll see what they come up with here. Double wing, Comrick under center. Quick pitch here back to the inside of Johnson. He's got enough for the first down, breaks a tackle, and this will be, I believe, number 27 there, Kading, that will pull him down from behind.
Man,
and if not for number 27, it was a touchdown and off to the races. And so that is a gain of 16 yards on 3rd and 1, and I must have jinxed the Broncos by saying they had been good on 3rd and 1. It's 16 yards for Johnson, and it's a first down for the Agates. Stay with the double wing. 5-man line for the Broncos. This is Holm looking to go out the far side. Gets to near midfield and then faces a fumble. Ball on the ground. I think the Broncos have it. This is Sari with the fumble recovery.
Anthony Sari.
I don't know who got a hand in there, but I did see the ball pop out, and the Broncos will cover it up, and they'll take over. First turnover for the Agates, or no? Is that the... I got to look back at my stats, George.
I think that is the first turnover.
First fumble recovery, right?
First fumble recovery, yeah.
All right, so the Broncos get that first turnover of the game, and they'll start 1st and 10 from their own 49-yard line as the buckets will go around. Touchdowns and turnovers as they look to raise money for cancer. Helene drops back to pass, feeling pressure, tries to get to the outside. He will. Pulls it down, 50, 45. Breaks a tackle, gets out of bounds inside of the 40-yard line. It's enough for the first down if he went out of bounds where I think he did. It got to the 38-yard line, and that's a gain of 13 yards for Helene at the Agates 38-yard line. Helene saw the opening again. He's done a good job of reading the defense, and of course, they're bailing out. They're playing man-to-man. They're not looking back at the quarterback. They're watching their receiver.
And that puts Helene over 100 yards as well.
2 receivers each way. Man, pressure. Here comes Riley Larson back to the inside. He'll get a gain of about 3 yards as Helene is planted on his backside by Sam Johnson. The Agates said, the heck with it. We're going to bring an all-out blitz on you. See how you deal with that. Complete pass. How about that? For, we'll just call it 2 yards, we'll call it, George. 2nd and 8 for the Broncos from the 35.5-yard line. Trips to the far side. Larson all by himself on the near side. High snap. Helene comes down with it, and he'll just cover it up, and I think he made a wise choice there. He was going to try to catch it, jump, and then he just said, you know what? I'll take my loss. It's going to be a loss of 10 yards for the Broncos. Well, wait a minute. Let's see where they put him down. Yeah, they're going to put him at the 46. So it's a loss of 10 yards. We'll put that on the team for the loss. So 3rd and 18 coming up for the Falls at the 46-yard line, and that's just unfortunate for the Broncos that is what happened there. 2 receivers each side. Larson and Sari to the near side. Schultz, and I believe that is Tristan Thompson to the far side of the field. Jackson Germain goes in motion. Low snap this time. Helene picks it up, feels pressure. Now looking, throws it in the flat, and Larson will catch it about the 40-yard line, and it'll be a gain of about 6 yards. And now, George, here comes 4th and 12 for the Broncos. So now what do you do, George? You early in the game wanted the Broncos to punt.
I do. I want them to punt now, too.
I want them to punt now, too. I agree. I believe that's what they should be doing here is punting. Try to put the ball inside. Put it on the 15-yard line with a 7-point lead.
That's right.
But that's not the way the Broncos roll here, folks.
No,
4th and 12. They're going for it. Helene all by himself in the backfield. 4 receivers to the far side. Will the Agates blitz? They will not. They'll bring 4. Looking down. Looking for, this is Borger. And I believe it's going to be.
He caught it.
Oh, my heaven. He caught that.
It.
After it looked like it was going to be intercepted by the Agates, it comes out of the hands of number 18, Garrett Jordahl, and right into the hands of number 17. It is going to be a gain of 20 yards and a first down for the Broncos on the complete pass to Borger. Holy cow.
He's got some of Larson's magic in those fingers now. They all can believe they can catch.
So 1st and 10 at the Agate 20. Helene has Germain in the backfield with them, 2 receivers to each side of the formation. Helene puts Sari in motion. He'll hand it off to him. Sari, Van Keckrick said, I don't think you're going. I think that, yes, that was Van Keckrick's, and it'll be a loss for Helene of 5 yards on the play. Never had a chance, George.
No, he did not.
2nd and 15 for the Broncos. Germain comes out of the backfield. Mathis will go back in. Borger and Schultz are the receivers to the far side. Riley Larson and Sari are the receivers to the near side. 13 seconds and counting remaining. Helene looks to the flat. Now throws to the corner. Borger tries to come up with that, and there comes the flag. So this will be about a 12 or 13-yard penalty. It will not be enough for the first down, but it is the second pass interference call on the Two Harbors Agates here in this game. I see Sari come out of the game. He might just need a little extra break, George, on this second and short play coming up here. I think they're going to put the ball down at about the 12.5-yard line, so we'll call it a penalty of 12 yards on the Agates, and it'll bring up 2nd and 3 for the Broncos from the 13-yard line. We'll see if my figuring is correct. Yeah, it doesn't look too bad for me and the umpire being on the same page. 6 seconds, so very possibly the final play of the third quarter here. Two running backs in the backfield. The box back here by number 40, Noah Mathis. Snap, handoff to Germain. No, this is Helene, and he had no chance, and it's going to be a big loss as Van Keckrick came in on the blitz along with Jordahl, and that's going to be the final play of the third quarter. And I don't even know if that was going to be a run play.
I'm not sure what it was, yeah.
It's going to be a loss of 6 yards, I believe, George, on the play. And when we come back for the first play of the fourth quarter, it's going to be 3rd and 9 for the Broncos from the Agate 19-yard line. And we'll take a little voice rest here, and we'll see what happens when we start this fourth quarter. Twins have closed it within 5-4, George.
5-4. Where's my boy Nelson? He's going to give a whopper.
He did already hit one.
Did he?
He already hit a home run. Did Nelson Cruz. Well, welcome back here. 3rd and 9 coming up for the Broncos. The big thing that the Broncos need to remember, you got 2 plays to get this. Leaves a lot of the plays open. I know you'd like to get it all right here, but getting a chunk of it would be good.
Got to have a chunk.
3 wide receivers to the near side. Larson, the sole receiver, to the far side of the field. Helene along with Mathis in the shotgun. 3rd and 9 for the Broncos from the 19. Helene tried to get us maybe a little offside. Now looks over, looks to see maybe what the change of the call is. Helene takes the snap, looks near side, going to throw the fade to Jackson Schultz, and it's going to be intercepted by number 10. That is Kyler Pitkinen. That's going to come up with the interception, and the Broncos will turn it over here on the INT and the Two Harbors Agates. Whoa, we got a flag over here. I did not see that back over here. It is going to be a hold on the Broncos, which of course will be declined. And the Agates will start 1st and 10 at the 20-yard line. So the Broncos looking for a chance maybe to get it out to a 2-score lead. The INT there by Pitkinen. And Two Harbors Agates.
Mr. Pitkinen's only a freshman.
Ah, and that's a very nice play by the freshman.
It is.
Again, we're happy to have you along here on KCC TV, Midco Channel 7 here in International Falls, or if you're watching us anywhere across the world on kcc-tv.org, we're happy to have you along. And if you're watching from Two Harbors, we're really happy that you're watching here. And we're trying to do the best we can with some of those numbers that are covered up with mud. 1st and 10. This is going to be Johnson going to the far side, and he is going to be pulled down for a very short gain. Good pursuit from the backside by Gavin Lovelace. And also coming up off the bottom of the pile for the Broncos is going to be number 54. And that looks like that is 35, Jermaine, also in there. Short gain for
Larson,
the
Jermaine, all those guys, they are hot.
So 2nd and 9 coming up for the Agates from the 21-yard line. We seem to be a very popular throwaway now for these kids coming from our right. This is the fullback, Van Kekricks. He's got a lot of room, 30, 1st down, and he gets into the secondary level before he's going to be tripped up there, I believe, by Anthony Sari. It's a gain of 13 yards on the play, and that unbalanced formation has continued to cause havoc for the Broncos. And I'm just going to say it again, George. I think the Broncos need to shift the man over. They're being outnumbered on the one side of the ball, and the Agates are taking advantage of it, and that's just the old football coach in me. Balanced formation here. Coming back to the near side, this is Holm. He's going to be tripped up, but he's going to fall forward for a gain of 4 yards, we'll call it. And it's going to be 2nd and about 5.5 for the Agates at the 38-yard line. And fortunately, I'm not sure what Bronco got a hand in there to trip him up from behind. But I don't think if he gets a hand on there, he might be running into the end zone. There seemed to be a lot of room on that near side on that play.
Oh, there's a lot of bite in this Two Harbors team yet, there's no doubt.
2nd and 5.5. Unbalanced line here for the Agates to the far side of the field. Comrack under center. Turns around, hands it to Van Kekricks. He's got a 1st down as he's up near the 45-yard line. And the Broncos right now can't seem to find Van Kekricks as he gets that turnaround handoff from Comrack. And it's a gain of 7 yards. And 1st and 10 for the Agates, trailing 14-7 here as we approach 10 minutes remaining in this ball game. Remember, the Agates have played 2 very close games already this year. And, of course, the Broncos played a double overtime in the season opener at Northwoods. This is a handoff. going to the far side and plowing his feet and keeping his feet driving into Bronco territory. It's going to be a gain of 7 there, and that looks like that is that Barrick, but it looks like it's a 7
I know.
on the back. And so here comes 2nd and 3. Yeah, we'll call it 2nd and 3 for the Agates at the Bronco 48-yard line. The Agates took the interception and ran the ball 5 consecutive times already here for 32 yards, and we're going to get a flag. Somebody got a little jump, I think. And it is going to be a false start against the Agates. So bring them back into Bronco territory and bring up a 2nd and 8, and that'll drive coaches crazy.
That one,
when you got things
you got
going.
a drive going, and there it is.
So 2nd and 3 to 2nd and 8 now for the Agates. But I don't see the Agates changing their tune here. They're going to continue to put this ball on the ground, see if they can get off tackle here. And here comes that unbalanced formation again for Two Harbors. They bring it back the other way this time to midfield, and then taken down there by a host of Broncos is going to be, that is number, yeah, trying to figure out what number that is, Tim, with the mud on the back.
That's 58.
That's who made the tackle.
That's who made the tackle.
I couldn't tell you who ran the ball, though. That's who I was looking for. So it's going to bring up 3rd and 5 as the ball sits just short of the midfield stripe. They stay in that unbalanced formation. Comrack under center, turns around, hands it out to Van Kekricks, and there's a big hit for the Broncos.
Oh.
And that is number 54, Travis Kaler, as it will be a short loss, I believe, for Van Kekricks, depending upon where they set this ball down.
That was
and
a
it is going to be a loss
classic form
of a yard.
tackle. Just beautiful. Both legs, lift him, carried him through.
4th and 6 for the Agates. George, you got to punt the ball, don't you? You
Yeah,
got to.
they're getting close to the 4th down time. I'm not sure what else they can do. They haven't moved, between inside the no red zone works tonight.
That looks like they're going for this.
They are.
2 receivers to the near side, 2 to the far side. Comrec in a short pistol formation. In motion comes a running back. This is a low
the
snap,
fumble.
and his knee is down, and the Broncos are going to turn him over as Comrec put his knee down to cover it up. And there'll be a loss of 4 yards on the play, and the Broncos will start in Two Harbors territory at the 45-yard line. And now how big was that illegal?
That was huge.
That false start.
That was huge.
That took the momentum away from the team, and the low snap there, and Comrack wanted to scoop it up and then put the knee down.
The leg was down,
yeah, and
there
then,
it was.
And that's all it took.
Yeah.
So the Broncos 1st and 10 at the Agates 45-yard line. 2 receivers each side. Mathis in the backfield with Helene. Helene takes the snap, looks flat. Larson has it at the 46, 45, 40. Breaks a tackle, and he gets down near the 36-yard line. A gain of 9 yards on 1st down, and it's 2nd and 1 at the 36-yard line. Wait a minute. Now they put him way back. Whoa, hang on. Do we got a flag? We do have a flag
There is
on the
a
far
flag.
side. I apologize. Did not see it, and it is a block in the back on the Broncos. So let's bring it back, folks. And I think they'll just mark this off 10 yards from the, just about from the original line of scrimmage. And so we'll put the ball back on the 46-yard line. So 1st and about 19 yards here for the Broncos. So Broncos stay with 2 receivers on each side. Mathis switches sides of Helene. It's on his left now. Snap. Look in the flat. Mathis catches it about the 40-yard line, trying to get back to the line of scrimmage. It'll be a short gain on that pass play. And of course, a lot of coaches would say, well, that's a run play. He caught it 7 yards in the backfield. Quarterback threw his hands up over the top of his body. To me, that's a pass.
That's a pass.
A gain of 1 yard on the play. It's 2nd and 18 for the Broncos at their own 47-yard line. Here comes the quads to the near side. Larson is the lone receiver to the far side of the field. Helene will be in the backfield all by himself. Will the Agates bring a blitz here? They got 3 down linemen. 2 linebackers creeping. They won't. Helene going to run. 45, going to find the going very tough, and it'll probably be no gain when all is said and done on 2nd and 18. So 3rd and very, very long here for the Falls from their own territory. 6.5 minutes and counting remaining in this 4th quarter. Broncos leading at 14-7 here on homecoming from a muddy sports stadium. This might be a good time for a timeout, George.
Yes, it might.
I think you want to get the right play call here. 3 receivers to the near side. Mathis in the backfield. Larson to the far side. Helene takes the snap. Drops back. Looks right. Looks deep. Borger's behind the defense. He catches it.
It's
going to be a touchdown.
It's going to be a touchdown.
No flags. Broncos lead
It's all
it 20-7. 53 yards on the touchdown play as Borger comes up with a touchdown catch to put the Broncos up by 13. So Borger, 53 yards from Helene. And Borger, earlier in the game, had gotten behind the defense, and Helene dropped it a little bit too far. This one was right on the money.
Well, that's the problem Two Harbors has. They got to cover a whole bunch of very fine receivers, and you have right now you have 4 on the field that can hit you.
So here comes the 2-point conversion for the Broncos from the left hash. Helene, lots of green grass down on this end of the field, George. We haven't been down there very often. Helene takes the snap. He rolls out. Looks flat, just out of the reach of Sari, and the Bronco lead is 13 at 20-7. The Broncos go 45 yards in 4 plays, and it's a 53-yard touchdown pass. So
hey, we'll take it.
we'll take it. That's exactly right. The Broncos up by 2 scores now with less than 6 minutes remaining. And now, if you're Two Harbors, do you go away from what's been working, the run? Do you got to start trying to air it out?
Well, they got 7 points out there from a 47-yard run, and that's all they have, that they've been consistently be able to put together, in spite of some, of Holmes. He's had a really good night. Now they're going to have to go to the air. They're going to have to do things that they're not comfortable with.
Yeah, and that's the thing that we've talked about all the time about this double wing offense, George.
Yes.
If you get behind,
You're in trouble.
It makes it very difficult. But we have seen on tape that Comerick can throw the ball. He has completed a couple passes here in the second half. And so the Broncos here will kick it off here. This, again, will be Jackson Schultz. And deep, couple of guys deep, Johnson, and I believe that is Holm that are both deep. And I got to be honest with you, George, if I'm the Broncos here, I kick this thing short. I don't want either one of those guys touching the ball and getting anything started back there.
Kick it in the mud.
Kick it in the mud, make it muddier, and see what happens here. The Broncos leading it 20-7. Schultz drives one just like we hoped. Ball comes to the 35, bobbled, picked up at the 36. Make a move, get out to about the 39.
Perfect.
Thank you, George. You took the words right out of my mouth. Perfect. Maybe a shade deeper, but I'll take it there. Two Harbors will start 1st and 10 from their own 39-yard line. Yep, they'll put it right on the 40-yard line. Well, best laid plans, right? So the Broncos up 13 points here, 5:54 remaining. And we'll see what Coach Tom Nelson with the Agates. And they are going to come out 3 receivers to the near side, 1 to the far side. Comerick will be the shotgun quarterback here. And the Broncos, first time they've seen this formation, and a flag. And I think, I'm going to say the center picked up the ball.
Oh, yeah.
And did something he wasn't supposed to do. That's just my reaction. I didn't see what happened, but you don't throw unless somebody twitched. So back them up 5 yards before they even get started. So 1st and 15 now for the Agates. And we'll see if Coach Tom Nelson decides to change his play call because of that. I say no. If it was good on 1st and 10, it's good on 1st and 15 in this situation. Broncos will be on the road next week. They'll travel to Evelyn Gilbert for a 7 o'clock game. And then they'll finish the season here on the 16th on a Wednesday against the Virginia Blue Devils. Comerick looks to the flat, now going to throw deep down the far side. Sorry, I thought he was going to come up with the interception, but give the Two Harbors Agates receiver, he did a good job of getting a hand
Covered
in
it
there
right up.
and breaking that up. So the pass broken up there by Anthony
It almost
Sari.
could have been an offensive pass interference. It was
I thought about that, that he
Yeah.
maybe got a hand in there early, but
We'll take this.
We'll take the incomplete pass, George.
We'll
I
take
agree.
this.
I agree. 2nd and 15 now for the Agates. They're going to go back to their double wing. Van Kekricks has had some success running the ball recently. This is going to go off to, no place to go on that play there. That looked like that was number 3, Eli Wiseman. I'm not sure. It looked like it was number 3, but those numbers are so muddy. I can't quite tell. And it's going to be a gain of about a yard. And it's going to bring up 3rd and 14 for the Agates at the at the Agate 36-yard line.
So who did you think ran that ball?
I thought it was number 3, Eli Wiseman.
Yeah, maybe you're right.
But I'm sorry, it's tough to tell. Coming back to the near side, looking to get some ground and running him down from behind is going to be Riley Larson to come up with the tackle there on it looks like number 20. I'm going to say it's 25. That could be Carter Hoffman, who picks up 2 yards on the play. It's 4th and 12, and I would guess that the Agates are going to have to go for it, down 13 with 4:55 and counting. They just really have no choice but to come up with a play here on 4th and 12. Comrade comes into the huddle. They break it. They stay in the double wing. Got to be some trickeration going on
There's
here.
5 men down there in that line now.
Comrade drops back to pass, looks one way, comes back across the middle. He's hit as he throws. He gets it off, and it's a complete pass, but it's only going to be enough for 5 yards, and the Broncos will turn them over and come up with the stop.
Travis Kaler's having a good time.
How'd you notice, George?
He's just having fun. He's out there hitting and playing football.
So the Broncos take over 1st and 10 at the 42, and now we see 2 running backs in the backfield, and offense coordinator Seth Edestead goes into his, let's run the ball. Let's get the clock started mode, I think, and try to slow this game down a little bit. Broncos up by 13. Here comes the blitz. Helene sees all kinds of white jerseys. He's in a lot of trouble, and he's going to go down on a big loss. And Two Harbors said, we know what you're thinking. We know what you're going to do.
Yeah.
Helene will lose. Well, they'll put the ball down at the 40. We'll see where the umpire finally decides. He puts it down at the 47. It'll be a loss of 5 for Helene. So 2nd and 15, but the clock is moving. And that's the big thing right now. The clock is the enemy of the Agates as it goes under 4 minutes. And now they'll watch the back judge, wait for him to put that hand in the air. At least I hope they will. 2nd and 15. Helene takes a snap, hands it off to Mathis. He's hit in the backfield, and then he'll get across the 45 and down to the 44. We'll call it a gain of 3 for Noah, and it'll bring up a 3rd and 12. And now the Two Harbors Agates might want to think about taking one of their 3 timeouts here to stop the clock, but it keeps rolling here, under 3.5 remaining, and the Broncos just need to slow down. Even the guys calling the plays, they're in no rush. Make the kids stand there. They've got somebody watching the clock. Good clock management here by the Broncos. 3rd and 12 from the 44-yard line. Helene with Mathis and Jermaine in the backfield. Couple receivers to the near side. Long count here. Now Helene ready to take the snap. He steps forward. He'll get in behind his guys. And here comes a penalty flag. And it's going to be a holding call here on the Broncos. Helene picked up about 4, but it will be holding here on the Broncos. And I'm sure Two Harbors will be more than happy to push the Broncos back. So they'll mark it off from the 44 back to the 46 of the Broncos.
They're going to decline it.
Ooh, really?
That'll bring up 4 and a whole bunch.
That is declined, so we'll put the ball on the 40-yard line. So take the penalty away, give Helene 4 yards. It'll bring up 4th and 8 for the Broncos at the 40-yard line.
And there's a timeout.
So why are they putting the ball back at the 44-yard line?
I have no idea.
Some coach has to go out onto the field and say, why is the ball at the 44-yard line? Helene was tackled at the 40. If the penalty is declined, the ball needs to be on the 40. Should be at the 40-yard line.
Maybe they're talking about that right now.
I believe, well, no, I thought Seth Edstead was going out there to talk to him, but I don't know if anybody's noticed it yet, that they put the ball down. You know, that whole penalty thing kind of gets everybody thinking.
It does.
And then forgetting where the ball was actually put down, and I don't know why one of the linesmen is not doing something. I really want to yell down to the coaches, because 4 yards is 4 yards here, George. That could be the difference between getting a first down and not getting a first down.
Especially with the way this offensive run. Fourth down doesn't really mean a lot.
And they are going to punt it here. So they'll put the ball on the 44-yard line. Schultz to Schultz here on the snap. And
They crossed over.
so now think about this. Put the ball at the 40-yard line. Now you put the ball on the 35-yard line. Now you're talking 4th and only 4. But now it's going to be, they're discussing it. Maybe I'm jumping the gun a little bit here. And offside.
Offside.
Oh man, this really
Defense.
saddens me. I have to say this because this is a biggie. Instead of it being on the 35-yard line, now it's on the 39-yard line. And now the Broncos might think about going for this to put the dagger in this football
They are.
game.
They're going. No, they're not.
So, fans, not yet. Good snap. Punt is away. The ball will come down about the 15. Johnson will pick it up there. He goes to his right, breaks a tackle, gets across the 25, and he'll be brought down near the 30-yard line. So it'll be a punt of 24 yards, and the return will be out to the 29-yard line. So it'll be 14 yards on the return, and Two Harbors will start 1st and 10 from their own 29-yard line or so. We'll see where the umpire puts the ball down. He's been very much on a line, and that is exactly where it's going to go. I chuckle. Those things, yeah. I know it makes it easy later on, but I don't think he was anywhere near the 30-yard line. But so 1st and 10 from there. 20-7, the Broncos leading it, looking to move to 4-2 on the season, but there's still 2:49 remaining. Double wing for the Agates. A little reverse here, and the Broncos shut it down right there. Riley Larson, number 34. How about number 54 right there to shut down that counter play? And when I talked to Coach Edstead, George, he said, that dang counter play. We have not been able to stop it for how many years?
Well, Travis is doing it right now.
They did a pretty good job there. Here comes 2nd and 9
the last
for
3 or 4 plays. He's just been amazing
for the
with
Agates. Here comes the unbalanced line for Two Harbors. Comrack rolls back the pass. He's under pressure. Now looks to run. He gets back close to the line of scrimmage, but he'll be brought down for the sack as he'll lose a pair of yards there. And so Cody Jansen in there on the sack amongst others. And, they'll call it. Where are you going to put it down, Mr. Umpire?
Here.
A loss of 1. So 3rd and 10, clock still moving. That is the danger here for Two Harbors. 1:40 almost remaining here, and a long time to call this play, down by 2 scores. Comrack under center. Double wing. This ball will be handed off to Johnson, and he's run down from behind by number 58, Gavin Lovelace, and a whole bunch of other guys on the other side. Borger coming up there. And also, I believe number 40, Mathis, will come up off the bottom of the pile. And it's a short gain for the Agates. We'll call it a gain of 1. And it's 4th and 9, and here's the ball game essentially, folks.
Well, I'll tell you right now, it's a real tribute to this defense. They've kind of shut down Two Harbors right down.
Two Harbors has got 2 timeouts left, and they're not calling either one of them here. They're going to go to the unbalanced line. Under a minute remaining in this ball game. Kraut asking for defense. Will they get it? Handoff up the middle. Nowhere to go. And the Broncos are going to win this ball game and defeat the Two Harbors Agates for the first time since 2007. The Agates had won 11 straight, and the Broncos are going to break the streak, and they're going to move to 4-2 on the season. They'll take a couple of knees, and they are going to win this ball game by a score of 20-7. And you said, George, the defense stood up. 1 touchdown in this game. That was a 49-yarder.
Yeah.
And the Broncos are going to win on homecoming here at Sports Stadium. And again, more importantly in my mind, George, they beat the Two Harbors Agates for the first time in 12 tries. They've lost 11 straight to this team, and the Broncos are going to win it here by a score of 20-7. One more snap of the ball, and the Broncos will have things taken care of, and the crowd comes to their feet and show the boys how much they appreciate the effort with the win here on homecoming. A lot of boys will be walking into the showers with their uniforms on to get the mud out of them.
They'll be taking
and it'll
mud
be the
out.
happiest.
And
There's
that's
the
it.
final
There's the
snap,
game.
and the Broncos are going to win by a final score of 20-7. George,
How much fun can you have, huh?
how much fun can you have? The Broncos moved to 4-2, and now they maybe get closer, George, to a possible bye in the first round if they can get closer and closer to Crosby. They don't get close enough to Crosby, there's no tiebreaker where they play each other, but it'll be interesting to see how this QRF, and Crosby was trailing Aiken 16-6. Crosby loses this game tonight. They get closer and closer, and maybe the Broncos maybe get a bye.
Well, when did you think at the beginning of the season that the potential for a 6-2 season was going to come? We knew that Greenway was going to be tough and that Moose Lake Willow River was going to be tough. But they've had an opportunity to beat all the rest of these teams, and they've got Evelyn and Virginia. Not that you would take anybody for granted, but the
Those are two
possibility.
teams that, if you look at their record, you'd say the Broncos should win.
The Broncos should win.
They will
beat
be
them
the
both last
favorite.
year.
They will be the favorite
Yes, they will.
in both of those games.
Yes, they
no
will.
matter how things turn out here over the next game. But the Broncos will be on the road at Evelyn Gilbert next Friday night at 7 o'clock, looking to take on Evelyn at their home field. And of course, you and I have some hard feelings.
Oh yes, yes we do.
We don't have to replay that too many times, but my stomach is in knots just thinking about it from 18 years ago. In case anybody wants,
still have a scar over my eye.
I have to take a deep breath and forget about that. Because those are things that you do because they drive you to become better, Mr. Boyle. That's what we do as the Broncos are going to celebrate on homecoming with a 20-7 win over the Two Harbors Agates. And the Broncos moved to 4-2 on the season. The Agates dropped to 3-3. And the Broncos are going to put some teams on alert that this is not the old Bronco teams.
No, it's not. And there's so many wide receivers out there. I mean, Two Harbors was truly confused most of the night, and although they dropped a couple of passes, they hit up a few. And when they got Borgers, that was really a stab. So they got a really nice passing offense, and in the mud, it was more important for Two Harbors to have a dry field than it was for the Broncos.
Got a final score for you.
What's that?
Aiken 30, Crosby Ironton 6.
Oh boy.
So Crosby, after starting the season 4-0, have dropped their last two games. Now they're 4-2. The Broncos are 4-2, and all of a sudden things get interesting over the next couple of weeks. The QRF comes official Monday morning, Tuesday morning. They've been putting it out Tuesday morning about 5:20 in the morning. We'll see how early they get it out this week with everything going on. But the Broncos are going to come away with a 20-7 win. We got anything else that we need to show, Mr. Boyle? Anything else? No parades or anything else? George?
Hey.
It's a happy night.
Let's do it again.
Let's do it again here. We'll be back. Our next broadcast will be Wednesday the 16th. Darcy Sullivan will be in full control of this.
Yes.
Because Jay Boyle will not be here on the 16th. And so any of the issues, we're going to have Darcy panicking. The look she just gave me. She said it might be recorded. We'll get it live on the air for you folks. We've been happy to be able to bring you this game here on KCC Midco Channel 7 and also on kcc-tv.org. For George Frake, for Darcy Sullivan, for Robert Sullivan, for Jay Boyle. Those are the guys working behind the scenes. I'm Tim Ringhofer wishing you a very good evening as the Broncos win it by a final score of 20-7 and beat the Two Harbors Agates for the first time since the 2007 playoffs. Good night from Sports Stadium.